Hold on a minute. Let's see. Hello there. I hope everyone can hear me. Sorry about that slight delay. We are in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to today's stream, where, as you probably guessed, we've got something very interesting going on for you. Give me a second while I deal with my sound settings here. For some reason it has decided to be louder than I don't know what. I don't know what's going on here, man. Okay. It's super loud. I hope you guys can hear me. Just give me a couple more minutes as I sort some stuff out here on the live stream. Okay, here we are at KJFK, and I'll be just a quick minute while I sort some things out. For some reason the sound is not working the way I want it to. I just hope you guys can hear well. Yeah, okay, you guys can hear everything well, but I'm not able to. The sound is not working the way it's supposed to, which is not good. Okay, anyway. Dear Lord. Everybody's okay. Hello. Welcome to today's stream. Once again, we are at KJFK. And I don't know what's going on with the frame rate here. It's a little bit wonky. Yeah, the simulator is a little bit wonky here. I think we've got a lot of traffic going on and the simulator just can't seem to handle it. There's something that's going on here. Just go quickly into the settings here, have a look. We've got FrameGen is on. FrameGen is on, frame rate limiter is on, apply please. I think I've left the simulator running okay, there we go. That's much better. That is much better. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to KJFK International. We're in New York today. We got some lovely traffic injection all around us. Today we'll be flying the 737-900ER by PMDG, sporting the Delta livery. And we're going to take this into Atlanta. You know Atlanta? Of course you know Atlanta. We're going into Atlanta today, so that's going to be fun for us. Today on my stream I've got a friend joining us, a fellow aviation enthusiast, a friend of the channel, and co-pilot on many occasions, who's also going to be performing some PNF duties here today. So I'd like to welcome Benny on the stream. Benny, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Very good.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Sure. Thank you very much for being here. It's always a good time when we are on the stream together. So what do you think about today's flight? The idea is to take off from KJFK using live weather and live time, and then we wanna, as we come into land into Atlanta, we wanna switch up the weather, make it possibly stormy or blizzard, whichever. I think I'll go with storm. So what do you think about that? That's gonna be something interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting approach into Atlanta with that weather.
Yes, it is. Any bets on whether I'll be able to make a decent landing or not?
I believe you can. You have the experience. Let's see.
Okay,
let's see what happens.
Now, I don't know how the stream is appearing to the viewers right now. I hope it's appearing well, because I don't think my FrameGen is working for some reason.
No, it is. It is now, I guess.
It's just not. It's not actually.
No.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what is going on today. You know, you have one of those days where things just don't work. I'm having one of those days at the moment. Now it's working magically, and then all of a sudden it just stopped working. So yeah, in case you didn't know, I am also streaming on Twitch as well at the same time. So you can find me live on Twitch at the same time right now, as well as YouTube. The 4K stream is available on YouTube, and the 1080p is available on Twitch. Although the delay is slightly less on Twitch than YouTube, as you would expect. Anyway, having said all of that, let's have a quick look at today's route. without further delay, let me open that up for you. Let's switch views here. There we go. So here we're at KJFK. We're taking off out of runway 22 right. Okay, so we're taking off out of runway 22 right here. Then we shall fly direct towards RBV. From there, we have a fairly simple flight plan, nothing complicated, into the arrival into Atlanta, which, as you can tell, is a very, very long arrival procedure here. And we're going to land into runway 09 left. So we're landing into runway 09 left in Atlanta using the ILS. So yeah, that is pretty much today's plan. Nothing too complicated. We got some sort of manual leg here, which I'm gonna skip. But yeah, that's what it's looking like. And here we are, little green bird here at KJFK. We're at gate number A3, where we'll taxi on to runway 22R. Okay. So hope you guys had a good look at that flight plan. This is a little nav map, just in case anybody's wondering. So yeah, excellent. Right. Without further delay, let us get our aircraft started up from cold and dark, which is, I believe, the state that we are finding this in right now. Yeah, all right. How does that sound to you, Benny? Any thoughts on that route right there? Anas says hello on YouTube. Hello, Anas. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you.
It sounds pretty good, honestly. It's a simple flight, but you're gonna make it challenging by putting in that stormy bit.
Yeah, so that is one of those things.
Should be fun.
Yeah. Should be fun. Okay, anyway. All right, we've got the flight details showing up at the top as well. Anna says, how are you doing? I say, mate, thank you very much. I am doing very, very well. I hope you're doing well. Okay, let's go to ground operations. Let's request our ground power here. Let's go to our ground maintenance. Everything is maintained the way it should be. Brilliant. Not that I expected anything to be not maintained. Let's go to electronic flight bag, request our data from SimBrief. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. Now on Twitch, the stream element bot has said that I'm flying the stationary and all that stuff. Ignore that, please, because that bot went out before I changed my title on Twitch. That's why it says that. Today we're just flying exactly what the title says currently, which is the 737-900. Okay, so we've got this flight plan here, and let's go ahead and get our aircraft started up from cold and dark. And on the way, we'll look at the history of the 737 a little bit. How does that sound? Bennett?
It sounds interesting. I have no idea about the 737.
We'll find out together how the 737 came about and what we need to learn about it. It's so stupid that there are cars. Sure. There's cars parked right at the foot of the gate here in the airport. That's kind of stupid. Anyway, here we go. Batteries on. Emergency lights to armed. You can switch to ground power immediately if it will let me. There we go. Nav lights are on, which is fantastic. And do we need to do anything else up here? Yes, we do. We need to put our IRS systems to nav. So we'll do that. Let it align there. We could turn on a bunch of stuff here as recommended by the startup procedures, but what we're going to do here today is we're going to board our aircraft, and as we're boarding, we're going to turn on the APU rather than just leave it on right now. So that's how I'm going to do it here today. For some reason, the screens are not responding. I think have I set it to realistic? Yeah, I have. Okay, the screens are responding. They'll come to life in just a bit, which is fantastic, because I used to have this bug before in 737 where the screens won't come to life. I think that's gone now. So we're just going to wait up for the screens a little bit, and then we can go ahead and work with the FMC. As a matter of fact, we could do that right now. We come to FMC, position initialization. We could go to the next page, pick up the GPS here, and chuck it in right there. There we go. Nice and easy. Reference airport today is KJFK. Gate is A3, but I'm not going to input that today. We good? Oh, there we go. Screens have come to life. Brilliant. Let's go to the route here. Origin is KJFK. Destination today is KATL, which is Atlanta Hartsfield. Let's request our plan from SimBrief, like such. Let's set the payload. Let's set the fuel. Let's select the route. Nice and easy. Flight plan request going on at the moment, if I'm not completely mistaken. We'll give it a minute or two for the flight plan to load in, and once it does, we shall... there we go. Route uplink ready. Let's load it up. We're waiting for the loading of the flight plan now. Nice and easy. Now, Mr. Benny, I don't know if you happen to watch the live stream. Hold on. Activating, executing. Let us go to... what is our runway? Takeoff runway again? 22, right. Do we need to set that in 22? You know what? I'm just going to leave that out for now. Let's go to our legs here. Let's go to departure arrival. Departure is going to be none of these. We're going to take off out of 22R with no SID here. So we'll execute that. Arrival into KATL is going to be using the ODZI. This thing. The ODZI 1 arrival. And our landing runway is 09 left using the ILS. You can execute that as well. Let's go to the legs page. Let's pick that up and get rid of that discontinuity right there. Any other discontinuities? None whatsoever. Okay, 0 fuel weight. We can input that. You know what? We can just request our performance initialization data. Let's request that. Waiting for it. And we can load it in. So, Benny, did you happen to watch those Around the World series that I did on my channel?
Not all of them, yes, but I did watch a few of them, beginning ones.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
The concept is really good, but you might wanna make it like a playlist type of thing, so you don't like shoot them continuously.
I guess
That's what I would suggest. Yeah.
I guess so. You're right. Let's load that up and let's execute that, and we've got all that information set in right here. We're gonna go with 36,000 as our cruising altitude for the day. Yes, we are. N1 limit, I'm not derating thrust, and flaps today is flaps 5. CG, trim 4.35. There is our V speeds, 41, 43, 54, and let's set up our trim here at 4.35. So to set up 4.35, if you can take a close look here at this trim wheel, ladies and gentlemen. It's a little under 4 at the moment, so let's move it more towards 4.5. A bit more. A bit more. That's it. Yeah, I think that'll do. Yep, that'll do. That will do for sure. And there we go. We got VNAV available. Everything is looking good. We can have a jump through of our route here before we call it. So let's go to our plan here. And let's step through. Right? RBV. Copez. Bird. Wait a second. We're not getting our runway displayed here, are we? So that's not good. That is not good. We're not getting our runway displayed. So we need to go back to departure arrival here. Go to departure. See that? It's not really letting us... Why isn't it doing that? Okay, it is activated, but for some reason, it's not giving us the runway there. I'll select JFK 5. Let me try execute that. Will that help us? A22R, execute. Takeoff speeds deleted, that's fine. Okay, now is it gonna help us? Yeah, okay, I think now we've got our... Yeah, there we go. At least we've got our runway there. Takeoff speeds deleted. Let's go ahead and reset those, yeah? Flaps 5, center of gravity there. Takeoff speeds 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay, looking good. We're looking good here. Let's set our barometer here. 29.98. Sounds good, right? What else? Flight direct is on, auto throttle on. That sounds good. Our speed here, we're gonna go to 185 knots.
You might wanna. Have you started boarding already?
That's a good question. I have not
You
started
might
boarding.
wanna start it. Yeah.
So let's request the boarding here. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Let's just finish setting this up. 185, a cruising altitude of 36,000 feet. Let's go ahead and do that real quick here. 31, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 36,000 feet there. VNAV is available, LNAV is available. Brilliant job. Okay, we've requested our boarding and the stairs are going away. Let's see how it's going to be done this time. I don't see anything else here. Don't see the carts or the stuff like that. I don't see any of that. I don't see any of that, ladies and gentlemen,
I
coming
believe
up.
it's the jetway that's gonna be connected.
Yeah, I believe so, but... oh,
Or maybe
wait.
it's the stairs.
Request boarding. I didn't really do it.
Oh.
Delta. Let's do Delta today, and there we go. Now it's coming up. GSX is a little funny sometimes, so... Yeah. GSX is a little funny sometimes. Okay. That's wonderful. We can go ahead and start up the APU so passengers have some sort of air
Some AC.
circulating. Yeah. We need to probably do that. Again, glass jetways are not available in this for some reason. That's okay. Not a big deal. Not a biggie woogie. Biggie.
While we're waiting, can you show us on the inside of the cabin?
There's
The
yeah,
Delta.
that's a great idea. Let's go ahead and turn on the APUs right about now, I guess, yeah? You know what, I'm just going to let the passengers suffocate for a little bit. Boarding passengers now, let's wait for the boarding process to go a little bit further. In the meantime, we can go ahead and take a look at our cabin.
Sure.
Take a look at our cabin. Okay, open up. How do you open this damn thing? Can't open it up. You just go through it. Oh. Hello there. Okay, get ourselves up to head level there. Okay, there's no passengers coming in just yet, so that's interesting. There we go. This is, I assume, the premium economy class for a particular airliner today, that is Delta. And we've got the economy cabin here. The cabin isn't modeled too badly, but it isn't modeled the greatest either. PMDG doesn't really make the best of the best textures in their aircraft. Good textures, but it's not the best of the best. Oh, our passengers. My bad. Let me get out of your way there. Mate, you just okay. Oh no.
The kid was so slow that the woman went through her.
Imagine that. He's about to be overtaken by the lady behind him as well. Okay, so we've got some sort of in-flight entertainment thing here. PMDG, welcome. Please touch screen to continue. I've touched it, it's not continuing. Okay, whatever. Let's go back up here, back into our cockpit, because there's nothing else to see, I believe. Can actually take a look at if we have the views set for today. We do. Very nice, we got good views.
I feel like the 777's cabin is better.
Yeah, the 777's cabin
it's also
is...
by PMDG.
Yeah, that is correct. The 777's cabin is better than the 737's. The 777 was developed later on, right?
I believe so.
It was delayed. We were waiting for that for like a year or something. I don't know. It wasn't delayed per se. We were just waiting for it for a year, I suppose. Isn't that right? Okay. Fantastic. Now that that's done, let's go ahead and turn on our APU. It's about time. Let's do that right away. There we go. If we come overhead here, we will turn on our APU bleed in just a second. We should also turn on a lot of stuff around the aircraft at this point, which we should have done by now. Like for example, no, this can wait. For example, the window heat and the probe heats and the yaw damper. Not yet. We need to turn this on first. Waiting for APU to be available, and then we can release our ground power as well here. We can turn on yaw damper. Yaw damper is gone. That is great. Technically supposed to turn the voice recorder to on when we're on the ground, so we should have done that earlier, but hey, we're not really trying to do things down to the detail. So let's turn on the seatbelt signs here, shall we? Let us do that. Okay, fantastic. APU has come to life. Let's switch power to APU and let's get rid of our ground power unit. How does that sound? Let's go to... Come on. Come on now. Ground connections. We can release this thing. Can we release it? Oh yeah, okay, it's released. Parking brake should be on now. Yes, it is. Thank God. Let's remove the chocks here. There we go. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're pretty much just waiting for our boarding process to finish up at this point. We've got everything else. Did we get the APU bleed turned on? Aren't we supposed to turn the left pack on here, right? Turn it to automatic.
I believe so, yes.
Let the APU run. There's a dual bleed warning here. We've left the engine bleeds on for the time being. That doesn't matter. I think they're off. They're on by default. Okay. So let that happen as and when it should. And we're just waiting for the boarding process here. And once that's done, we can get ourselves up and out of here. Beautiful views as usual. Let's have a look at GSX here. Hello there, GSX. Why is it so massive for some reason? GSX, 91 passengers out of 144. So we still got a bit more going on. And while that's going on, let's take a quick look around JFK and talk about some random stuff. How does that sound?
It is a handcrafted airport, right?
It is a handcrafted airport, JFK. However, I must say for such an important aircraft, it's not the highest quality handcrafted stuff. I mean, we see much better quality on a lot of others. Although it does have some sort of interior, right? There we go. I mean, it has a parallax effect on the window. So we can see some sort of, so it looks a little bit realistic. But for the most part of it, it is not exactly the best hand-modeled thing. I'm sure the one by Inibuild is much, much better than this. If you look at the control tower here, again, there's a parallax effect, but is that the control tower? It has to be, right? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it does look like it.
But there isn't much else in the way of...
I have to say, it's a weird control tower, honestly.
It is
I've never seen one like that.
That's right. It's maybe it's got like living quarters or something. I don't know. Because it's... Oh, that's a very nice livery on that JetBlue. That's an Embraer, isn't it? It's an Airbus A220.
Oh, yeah.
A220, which we don't have, right? We don't have an A220. Okay, that is nice. That is nice. Let's take a look at that terminal building or whatever that is. Is that a terminal building? I have no idea what this is. I have no idea. I'm not familiar.
I believe that's the departure building, like the land side.
I know. I'm talking about this building right here, which is clearly on the air side.
Oh yeah, this is terminal building, I believe.
So yeah, no interior modeling, just parallax effect on the windows, which is better than nothing, but it's not the best looking. Although it's handcrafted, it doesn't really give you a handcrafted feeling, does it?
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Okay, let's head on back to our aircraft here as we check out the aerial views. So yeah. Okay, Mr. Hans, let's pull up some history on the 737. Shall we do that?
I think you called me your number one viewer again.
Oh my goodness, I am so sorry, Benny. I keep doing that again.
Yeah.
When I check the chat, it's the last one is honest. Okay,
That's
Benny,
understandable.
my bad. Oh, beautiful stuff. You know what? Let's check out some of these liveries. How about that before we get into the history of the
Sure,
737? What do you think about this? This is one of my favorite all-time liveries, the A330 ITA. Beautiful aircraft. How does that look like to you?
Yeah, it does look amazing.
Does look amazing, right? These FSLTL models have gotten slightly better, haven't they? That's
I believe they have.
that's what aircraft is that? I have no idea. That's a Dreamliner, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. It is.
Yeah,
I
that's a
think it is.
Dreamliner. That's an A321, if I'm not thoroughly mistaken. Let's have a look. A321, yep, A321neo. We have the A380, very obviously. We've got A320 here. Yes. A320 here. There's a Virgin there. That is A350. Would you look at that?
Yep.
So, Mr. Anas, what are your thoughts on... Oh, again, dear Lord. Benny. Mr. Benny, I apologize again. What are your thoughts on getting hands on the A350 by Inibills? And there's a mistake here. This is not the A350-1000. The A350-1000 has 3 sets of 2 wheels on its main landing gear, doesn't it? And it's much longer than this. This is a mistake.
Yep.
This has
It
to be a
looks
mistake.
more like the A320, honestly.
Oh, come on. It still looks like the A350, but I think it's like the 900 variant or 800. It's not the 1000. Can't be the
Actually,
1000.
it looks like the A330.
How does it look like an A330? Look at the wing.
It pretty much does. Yeah, apart from the wing, it pretty much does.
How about the front? Look at the front. This is clearly an A330. I mean A350, sorry.
Yeah, but it's a wrong model. That's what it is.
I see. All right, fantastic. Fantastic.
We should have an Emirates A380 as well, right?
Yeah, it was somewhere here. I don't know where it is
fly
now.
to New York.
Okay, just a second. While we head back in here, we need to request our pushback already. Yep, boarding completed. Let's request our pushback here. We should have done that a while ago, as a matter of fact, because we're sitting here with our APU running for no reason. Okay, let's turn on our fuel pumps here in advance. Let us... Anything else that we need to turn on here? As a matter of fact, we don't, huh? APU bleed is already on. You just wait for the pushback to connect. After the pushback connects, we can get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. How does that sound? Alright, let's pull up some history on the 737. Let's pull up some history on the 737. Tell me about the very first date of introduction of the 737, Mr. Benny, if you don't mind.
Sure. So the 737 is, as we all know, a narrow-body aircraft, and it's basically based on the 707, but it was designed to supplement the 727, which is obviously shorter and thinner.
Right.
So the 737-100, which is the first one, which was introduced in April 1967,
Oof.
it made its first flight then, but it entered service in February 1968.
Damn, another old airliner here.
Yes, while the 737-200 made its entered service in April 1968, so only a couple of months after the first one.
Right.
So the first 2 variants were actually powered by the Pratt & Whitney engines. And they were holding up to 85 to 130 passengers.
Okay,
Then
interesting.
the 737 Classic series, which consisted of the 300, 400, and 500, were launched in the 1980 and introduced into flight in 1984.
Wait, hold on. What
So-
on earth? What on earth is happening right now? Where is it taking us? My God! Wait, GSX. Oh, good Lord! It took us all there, crashed through everything, and now it decides.
It's bringing us back, yeah.
I installed the profile for this aircraft, for this airport as well. Mind you, I have the GSX profile for the aircraft and the airport installed. Maybe it's because of the way we were parked. Maybe it was off the taxiway, and that's why. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why. Because I remember before I started the stream, I had to slew the aircraft into the correct parking position, and I believe that's what messed up GSX's bearings there. Probably
Yeah,
that.
probably.
Yeah, it's probably that. Okay, never mind. Yes, let's go ahead and start up our engines here.
Sure.
But before we continue on with more history, anti-collision lights on. Let's go towards ground there. Ignition left. Let's have a look at what's going on here. There we go. N2 rising on our left engine. We'll wait for about 15-20. Okay, I'll wait for 20, why not? 20 and flick it open. There we go, we've got engine coming to life. Hopefully you guys are able to hear the engine. Is the engine audible, Mr. Benny?
Yes, it is.
Brilliant. The interiors are quiet. It's not very good. Wait, are the engine sounds working? Is the sound on the aircraft working? Hold on a second. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, gotta set the parking brake now. Okay, the sounds are
Alright.
working. Could you confirm, Benny, that these things are actually working here?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Sure. Starting up engine number 2 here. So pushback is disconnecting itself. That is great. We're waiting on our N2 as usual. I'm not sure whether we can hear the engines. Okay. Why can't we hear any of the engines from inside the cockpit? That's weird. Yeah, I can't hear the engines. Okay, I can now. You know what it is? I'm used to the 777, which has much better engine sounds than.
Yeah, so
Yes, tell me.
yeah, so inside the cockpit they're not exactly audible, but outside I believe they are.
Okay, our pushback guy has waved to us. We're ready to leave.
Alright.
Okay, engine sounds are working. It's just that in the default PMDG, it's just not great, I suppose. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's
much.
alright.
It's much better in the 777.
Yeah, definitely. I think you just got used to that.
Yeah, I got used to that anyway. Okay, let's see. Our taxi lights can come to on. Let's go overhead here and let us turn off our APU bleed. We can turn off APU. Oh my goodness. I forgot to switch power before turning off APU. But I think we're okay. Yeah, I think we're okay. I saved it. Woof. Anyway, we switched the power and APU is off. That was close. Packs can come to automatic. The right pack can come to automatic. APU bleed off, engine bleed on, taxi light on, ignition can come to both. These can go to flight. Actually, we'll do that at the foot of the runway. Anything else that we need to do up here? No. Everything is looking good. Yep, everything is looking pretty much good.
You might have changed it to ground, I believe, instead of auto. Below engine start.
There we go. Thank you for that. Landing altitude today. I forgot to check our landing altitude today. Let's set that up before we get rolling here, shall we? Landing altitude. What is the elevation at Atlanta Airport? Let me find out in just a second. Elevation is 999 feet in Atlanta. Now 999 feet is 1,000. So we just
1,000.
yes. So we just need to set up 1,000 for our reference here. So let's go ahead and set that up. 1,000 feet. Perfect, ladies and gentlemen. 1,000 feet or cruising altitude is 36,000 feet. Everything is on automatic. Everything is looking good here. This can come to forward, maybe. Automatic. Logo lights, wing lights, anti-collision lights, strobe lights. All of that is looking good for the time being. APU off and we are ready to rumble. Are we not? Are we not?
We pretty much are.
We pretty much are. Okay, great. Let me set the auto brake first though to reject a takeoff. And do we need to set up our TCAS here today? Where is the TCAS? It's right here. We'll set that up as we line up with the runway. Okay, brilliant. Without further delay.
Nav map is still visible though.
Yes, nav map is still visible. I'm gonna cut that out for you guys for the time being. That's better. Quick look around. Let's go ahead and release our parking brakes, and someone is coming head on towards us. Okay, I don't really care about that. Parking brake attempting to be released. Yes, it is being released, and give it a bit of positive thrust here. And we are rolling, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. We've begun rolling. Okay. How's that? Very nice here, isn't it?
Oh, the wings didn't touch.
Oh, that's great. We're lucky that the wings didn't touch there. Not that anything would have happened even if they did, but... There we go. Lovely views as we taxi out here. We are a little fast there. Gonna pull our throttle back.
While we're taxiing, let me go back to some facts about the 737.
Sounds fantastic.
So the initial design of the 737 was actually based on the 727, which meant that it would have a T-tail and the engines would be on the podded on the aft fuselage, which would basically mean that they would be resting on the fuselage towards the tail. And the T-tail would have been weird, considering how it looks now and we're used to it. Anyways, the second design, which was brought up in 1964, was again tail-mounted engines, but this time it was using a traditional tail. And that's how we somehow got to the 737, by having wing-mounted engines with a traditional tail.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, going back to the second generation of the 737 Classic series, those variants were upgraded with more fuel-efficient CFM engines, and they offered a capacity of 110 to 168 seats.
So hold on. Just so we get this a little bit organized, we've got the Dash 100, Dash 200, the original two, right?
Yeah, the first generation.
And then we got the Classics, which is the 300, 400, and what, 500?
Yes, the second generation.
Yes, and then I believe there's the new generation, which is 600, 700, 800, 900.
Yes, that's called the third generation.
Yeah, the third generation, or the NG.
It's also known as the 737 next generation, which is the NG.
Exactly, is next generation NG. And then we've got, finally, the Max family.
Yeah, that's the latest and the fourth generation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But they're the only ones which use the LEAP engines, which is similar to the A320 Neo, which uses the LEAP 1A, but these guys use the LEAP 1B, and they accommodate 138 to 204 people.
Anas, sorry, Benny. Yeah. Let me stop you there. Your audio is crackling up. It's pretty bad. Is there something you can do about it?
All right, let me just check that out.
Okay, now you're sounding much better already, but okay.
Okay,
Maybe that was just a little hiccup along the way.
probably.
Probably.
So, anyways, the aircraft we're worried about today will be the 737-900, which
Correct.
is what we're flying.
Yep.
And they're the first generation which actually used a glass cockpit. And I don't know what they used before that. Because it doesn't make sense.
We had, if you look at, I don't know if you've checked out the models of the 737-500 that's available on Microsoft Flight Sim. They are fully dials.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
We got those retro dials, and we don't have any of these glass cockpit stuff. All right.
Interesting. And one more interesting fact is that 12,060 737s have been delivered, and 16,813 have been ordered.
Okay, that is a lot.
That is pretty big number.
This is including everybody, right? This is including all the generations.
Yeah, all the generations.
Right, yeah. Right. That is pretty cool. Okay. Okay, here we go. We're back on, and let me just give you guys a quick update in the cockpit before we continue with these interesting 737 stuff. I've always been confused about how many 737s there are out there and what the whole thing is about. So this really clears it up. 4 generations, 100, 200 originally. Then we've got the classic 300, 400, 500, 6. No, just till 500. And then we got the new generation 600, 700, 800, 900, and then we've got the maxes. That really clears that up. So that's very useful, man. That is very, very useful. Is the 737 the most successful airliner ever built, considering the high numbers, or is there something that was more successful?
It's the A320, but let me check that out.
Please check that out for us. Thank you very much, Benny. Okay, here we are holding short of runway 22R. We've got our auto brake set here. We need to set our transponder to TA. I usually like to put TA only. And our runway turn-off lights, taxi lights can come off, landing lights can go on. Strobe lights, we need to put them from steady to strobe and steady, which is done here as well. Passenger signs are both on, double checked. Is there anything else we need to do here? I don't think so. Flaps are down. Oh, flaps are not down. There's something we need to do. Flaps position 5, setting right away. Anything else we need to do here? If I'm not mistaken, we're pretty much ready for takeoff.
Yeah. Is the TCAS set?
TCAS is set. Flaps are traveling at the moment right now, and we're pretty much ready for takeoff. So is the 737 the most successful one?
So it's not an easy answer, because the A320 is officially the most successful because it has more orders in terms of orders than the 737.
Okay.
But the 737 still holds the most record, the highest record for the most deliveries.
All right, it holds the most record for the delivery. So I think the most successful we can say is A320, considering it's an order.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, still an impressive feat
but
there.
Currently, basically more 737s are flying in the world than any other aircraft.
Okay, so that speaks to it a little bit. Okay, let's get ourselves onto the runway and get up out of here. Okay.
All right, best of luck.
Okay, there we go. We are moving, ladies and gentlemen. We are moving. Let me come in here, make sure that our engines are responding normally there. Okay, we might want to pump our brakes a little bit there. But let's turn and line up with our runway here today, which is... Oh, forgotten just how little the turn radius on this thing is. What did I fly last that I'm used to such a quick turn radius? What? Okay, nonetheless, we've got ourselves lined up rather well here. That's good enough. Okay, let's switch this thing back to the map mode. Is there anything else we need to check out, Mr. Benny, before we get ourselves up and out of here?
I believe that's it.
Okay, let's go. Engines responding, and let's go to takeoff power. A little more than takeoff power if you ask me, but hey.
80 knots.
80 knots.
V1, rotate.
Rotate.
Positive rate of climb.
Positive rate of climb. Gear up. There we go. A brisk climb out there, but nothing too bad at all.
You practically didn't even need the runway.
Yeah,
When it started, that's when you probably took off.
that was quick over there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just gonna hand fly just for a second here. I'm not gonna hand fly too much. Just trying to get a feel for the aircraft, really. Okay, we're looking just fine. We're looking just fine. Looking just fine. We need to switch off the gear mechanism here. Okay, pretty much out straight at this point. All right, we need to fly directly to RBV, don't we? So let me just
Yes,
pull
I
up
believe so.
RBV there and execute it so we can turn ourselves in towards it, yeah? There we go, we're looking okay here. We're looking just good. All right, I think we can give it off to the autopilot pretty much, can't we? There we
Yep.
go, autopilot on, auto brake to off, please. Anything else we need to do here? Runway turn off lights can come off, landing lights can stay on here, passenger signs can stay on, our barometer can stay on for the time being. Transition altitude should be at either 18,000, I believe 18,000 is the correct one. Flaps can go up, please. We should have done that in a bit, but given that this is the Dash 900, we do need the flaps a little longer than the other 737s. But yeah, I hope you guys are able to hear this well now. Benny, how does that sound to you on the stream? If you can take...
Sounds perfectly fine.
That is brilliant. And the volumes and sounds are also great, yes?
Yep, correct.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. We're leaving behind KJFK on our way to Atlanta, and the level of detail here is absolutely stunning. I was about to say 2024 has improved. My bad, I forgot. We're in 2020. That is the reason why everything looks so crisp and sharp. It's because we're in 2020. Look at how lovely we look. This is great,
Yeah,
and that's not
it
even
does.
the default view. This is brilliant. Just absolutely stunning, isn't it? What do you think?
All right. Now that we see KJFK in the distance, I want to bring up some quick facts about KJFK.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Lay it on us, bro.
So KJFK was actually called Idlewood Airport.
You said Idlewood.
Yeah, Idlewood.
Oh, okay.
This is because it was constructed on top of the existing Idlewood Golf Course in Queens, and shortly after the death of JFK, it was renamed.
Oh, I like these little
Yep.
trivias. They're fun.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Then one more. It has a hidden softball field.
A hidden softball field in the airport.
Yes, correct.
Good lord, we
So
should have checked
at
that
the
out.
far end of the Federal Circle at JFK, that's where it is. It's located near Cargo Area A, and it's only a short distance from the cell phone lot.
So they're gonna-
However, the
okay.
field is not available to the public, and only a few select number of airport service personnel can access the field.
I was just about to ask who plays on that field. So the
Yeah.
airport employees, basically, like the ones that are selected, have access to it, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, probably have high security clearance or something of the nature. I don't know.
The next one is my favorite fact.
Oh, okay. Let's hear that.
Yeah.
10,000 feet.
So-
Hold on before we do. 10,000 feet.
Sure.
We're technically supposed to be following sterile cockpit at 10,000 feet, but we're not doing that. We've got an overheat warning here. We need to go and sort that out. I don't know what's going on with this. We need to sort that out. Anyway, landing lights off. Let me go overhead here, see what's going on. What is overheating? What is overheating? What is overheating? Huh? APU is off, isn't it? Anything wrong with the electric? Okay, so I think the overheat thing happens when you turn this on early. I don't know why it does that for me. We've got some issue here, don't we? And I don't know what it is. Do you see anything wrong whatsoever with the aircraft at this point? 752, 759, that all sounds good to me. I don't see any problems. Benny, are you able to observe anything that is wrong with this?
No, it seems perfectly fine. Maybe it's just a bug.
I doubt it's a bug because I've gotten this warning before. Anyway, PMDG, this thing is very realistic, so it must be something we're doing. Anyway, what is the most interesting fact? Let's head on to that.
Yep. So, the second largest runway in the US is located at KJFK. It's nicknamed as the Bay Runway, and it's the 31L.
Runway 31 left. Oh.
Yes, and it was considered a backup space shuttle landing spot.
Oh, that is interesting now.
Yep.
That is
The
interesting.
space shuttle facility is the typical runway for NASA space shuttles to land. But the runway at NASA's facility was only 428 feet longer than the Bay runway.
Okay.
That's why, in case of any emergency, the Bay runway was considered an alternative.
Right. I often forget that the shuttle is no longer functioning. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, which wasn't that long ago, the shuttle was considered like it was an iconic thing. You know, it was the future. It was where space travel was headed and all that stuff. And then
Yeah.
a couple of years later, a couple of decades later, we've got all of them being stuck in museums and being flown around on the back of 747s for show. That's all we got. So that is, it was actually a disastrous project from an economical standpoint and a sustainability standpoint. It couldn't sustain itself, which is a shame if you think about it. It was really cool to have something like the shuttle, don't you think? Something that landed like an aircraft.
Indeed,
And,
it was.
Years later, with all our advancements, we're yet to have a true replacement for the space shuttle. Although I
Yep.
believe, a few hyperplanes have been developed, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but that's like an add-on, like progress on the Concorde side of things, isn't it?
No, what I mean by those hyperplanes are not exactly the ones that go hypersonic. What I mean are those aircrafts that can effectively go into space and land back down like a normal aircraft.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
We've just switched our barometric pressure to standard here. That is what just happened. I just pressed that button just in case you're wondering. Everything else in here seems in order. We don't have any other issue. I don't know what that warning was, but our aircraft doesn't seem to give out any other issues here at the moment. I don't know. We could turn off the window heats for a minute or two if that makes it feels better, right?
Yep, sure.
But yeah, apart from that, we're looking pretty good. There's an aircraft passing us right there. Always looks very nice. Can we zoom into it, try and figure out what it is? Oh, God. Oh, it's also a passenger aircraft. Never mind. Yeah, apart from that, we are climbing on towards 36,000 feet quite steadily here. Nothing too strenuous for our aircraft, and the scenes are looking absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And I have to say, I'm still very much in love with 2020, and I still prefer it. Because I feel like for the visual experience, 2020 is better. During daytime, asterisks, during daytime, during night, yes, 2024 is better, but man, it boggles my mind. Maybe with Sim Update 3, once we're able to install everything locally, the textures might improve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. I'm looking
Anyways,
forward to that.
Going back to the hyperplanes thing you were talking about.
Yes.
A while ago, I read in a magazine in an aviation magazine, that there is a company which does these flights. So they go up, like really high up, which basically touch
Edge of
the
space.
stratosphere.
Right.
Yeah, and you can see like outside, and all you see is space. So they do like a 3-hour journey, and then they come back down, and that's for elite right now. So it's really expensive.
Yeah,
But
of course.
it's a nice experience. It's a nice experience.
It's just like how airline travel, when it first started out, it was just for the rich. It was a fancy thing. And that was like about we're talking about what 60 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe about 60 to 70 years ago, I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
it
Maybe
was-
a bit longer than that, actually.
Yeah, maybe slightly longer than that, when air travel was considered a serious luxury, and only the rich could access it. But
It was also treated like one. Like nowadays, you're not allowed to smoke.
Yeah,
on the
right.
aircraft. Yeah.
right, it
Back
was
then
treated
it was
as.
a thing. Yeah.
There was a particular reason why back then airlines were so luxurious to be in. One of the main reasons was that airlines were competing at the time with cruise liners, with ships and boats. That's what, especially for those longer journeys, airlines were competing with the ships, which were obviously much more luxurious, right? They were
Yeah,
basically, like a floating hotel, and they had all the luxuries and the amenities that one could want and whatever. And compared to sitting in a steel or aluminum tube, depending on the aircraft, for hours and hours and hours with nothing. So that is the reason why back then, part of the reason why, not the entire reason, you had such luxurious services and amenities available on board the aircrafts. Look at that. That is really nice. Isn't that a lovely scene right there as we pass that aircraft?
Yeah.
It's really cool. This is a really cool little flight. So yeah, that's basically the reason. And the other one being that, the safety regulations were far lower back then, and you could smoke. And smoking was considered kind of healthy at one point in history. So,
Healthy, and it was considered a status. Like anyone it was a trend basically.
yes.
Anyone smoking would be considered of a higher status than a
Right.
non-smoker.
Right. So we've got such tiny fashion and cultural related things influencing airline, and not just that. As airlines become for the masses, this is something that happens with everything that's ever invented. As things get rolled out for the masses, the luxurious thing becomes a niche for the wealthy and those who can afford it, and then and then for the general public, you offer something that's more affordable, and as a part of that, a lot of the luxuries will just disappear. It's just part of it. So a lot of people complain about lack of amenities compared to today's airlines and the older ones, but I think it just makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does make sense.
I mean,
I do have a few more facts about JFK remaining.
please let's roll on that before we leave the area. I mean, we kind of have already left the area, but you know what? Let's go on and have a look at that. Let's go ahead.
Yeah. So it has a pet-only terminal.
A pet-friendly terminal.
Pet only, not friendly.
Oh,
It
pet.
has a terminal just for pets. Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yep. Yep. It's nicknamed the Ark, as in Noah's Ark.
Oh, nice. That is a cool name for it.
It's a luxury terminal featuring different amenities for various animals.
Oh my
It
goodness.
houses wellness centers, pools, and grassy areas that can accommodate dogs, cats, horses, birds, and more.
Goodness, Mo. We gotta make some money. I gotta get rich.
Yeah.
I gotta get rich. That is crazy. That is crazy. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. But again, like you say, like we were just talking about, if you can afford it, those amenities are pretty much still there, mate. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
if not, they've
And
become
coming
more
to-
luxurious.
Yeah.
So I
Coming
mean,
to dedicated terminals,
exactly.
it also has the first A380 dedicated terminal in the
A380
US.
dedicated terminal. Oh.
Yep.
Damn, this airport is something else. I mean, if you look at the scenery and look at the traffic and whatever, it really does not do the actual airport justice, does it?
Exactly. It doesn't.
That is a shame.
Terminal number 4 at JFK.
Okay, we might have to end up buying the scenery for this thing at some point. We really might.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah. Any more factoids?
Yeah, I got 2-3 more.
All right,
So-
let's hear them.
There's an abandoned hotel called the Ramada Plaza.
I know the Ramada Plaza. I've stayed in that hotel, not the one in New York, but I mean the trademark in other locations. The franchise. I've
Yeah,
stayed in
yeah,
that
yeah.
hotel before. They have
Yeah.
abandoned one in that airport.
Yeah, it shut down in 2009,
Okay.
and it was nicknamed the Heartbreak Hotel.
Oh.
That was because it became a temporary housing for families and crews after a series of nearby plane crashes.
Oh no, that is a
So
shame.
that's a tragic fact, yeah.
That is a tragic fact right there. That is a tragic fact. The heartbreak. Oh, dear Lord. So the families rested there while they were waiting on news and stuff, I suppose.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, that is terrible. Yeah. So what is happening with that hotel right now? Any idea? What is it being used for?
No,
or-
it's just shut down. It's an empty building.
It's an empty building.
It shut down
right?
in 2009, yeah.
Okay, an abandoned building there.
Yeah.
An abandoned
Then they
building.
also have the historic TWA Flight Center. TWA, which is the Trans World Airlines.
Yeah, it's a classic airliner from the golden ages, I suppose.
Yep.
Yep.
It was created in 1962,
Hmm.
but it did shut down in 2001. And it was also added to the National Register of Historic Places because of its unique design, which was designed by architect Eero Saarinen. I believe I butchered the name, but
Yes.
sorry for that.
That's okay. We
Um,
butcher names here regularly.
Yeah.
All right.
And in 2017, though, it was repurposed as the now famous TWA Hotel.
What?
Yep.
Dear Lord. You know what? I need to get my hands on some scenery that has all of this stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I really
But the
want to
one
see all
thing
of this.
The one thing which won't be in the scenery is the next fact.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
let's have
it-
one. Let's have a fact on that. Let's go.
It was the location of the largest cash robbery on US soil.
What?
Yep.
I was pretty sure that would be some bank.
Yeah, me too. But anyways, in
KJFK.
1978,
Okay. 1978.
1978, an airport heist occurred at JFK Airport. Thieves from a New York crime family snuck into a cargo building early in the morning and snuck away with over $5 million in cash and $1 million in jewelry. This accounts for a combined $21 million today.
That is dope. Someone needs to make a movie on that. Somebody
Yeah.
needs to make a movie on that because that is dope. That is
And that's why
a cool story.
it's the largest cash robbery on US soil.
God damn, that is a cool story right there. One would think it would be in a
Yep.
bank, but in an airport. That someone needs to make a movie on that one. That is brilliant.
So we're done with the facts for JFK.
That
just
was
like
very
that.
interesting. That was very, very interesting. That is nice. That was really good. We should do more of that while we fly.
Yep.
What about, you know what, let's begin talking about Hartsfield, Jackson, Atlanta a little earlier so that we are prepared for descent. I don't want to be talking about this once we dip under 10,000 feet. Let's try and stick to the sterile cockpit rule a little bit, not a lot, obviously. We're still going to muck about, but you get the point.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get started up with the Jackson, Atlanta. Let's talk about a little bit about Atlanta and the airport in general. Find out a thing or two about it, and before we get started on that, we've got our cruising altitude coming up, 36,000 feet reached. So that means that we can pretty much put our seatbelt to automatic here. All the lights are in the correct position as they should be. We could probably change the engine start to flight mode, I guess, right? We could leave it on the flight thing, right? I mean, it's not a big deal even if we leave it on the auto. I don't think it is a big deal. So I'm more used to putting it on the automatic. So I'm just going to leave it on the automatic here. Yeah, I'm not going to do the flight thing. I'm just going to leave it on automatic. Everything else, pretty much all good. No issues. And yeah. Okay. Hopefully Benny is ready with some facts about
Yep. I have them in
Hartsfield.
front of me.
Sounds good to me, mate.
So it's, as everyone knows, it's a primary international airport serving Atlanta and the surrounding metropolitan area
Yeah,
in the
that's,
state of Georgia.
That's the obvious stuff,
That's
yeah.
yeah. First things first, we'll go to the name of the Atlanta airport, which is Hartsfield Jackson.
Hartsfield Jackson, yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So, Hartsfield Jackson is actually named after two former mayors of Atlanta, William Hartsfield and Maynard Jackson.
Okay, Hartsfield Jackson. Now I know. Two former mayors of Atlanta, you said.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Interesting.
And the reason it's named after these two former mayors is because they were the ones who, so Hartsfield is the one who actually is credited with having the vision of Atlanta as an aviation hub.
Oh.
But Jackson is the one who actually got to implement it, because obviously it took a longer time than their tenures as mayors to have the airport. Yeah.
Well, that is a vision that played out very well. Very well.
The reason it's actually valued that much, his vision and Jackson's help in building it, is because the city was actually a railroad hub.
Okay, yeah, this was during the time when the U.S. Airways were still, the U.S. railways were still pretty much being used and
Yeah, they were the
important.
primary form of transport.
Yeah, when the railways were still important and being used as primary. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but the reason why with Atlanta that's more important is because the location of Atlanta is such that it connects most major cities.
That's
So
right. That's right.
It was basically one of the biggest railroad hubs in the U.S.
As a matter of fact, we can take a
And-
look at it right now in. If we look at the tablet here, we don't even have to open up anything else. If we look at the tablet here,
Yeah.
if we zoom out and we look at that, if we remove that, here is a US, obviously, and here is Atlanta. So there's a lot of major cities in the area, I suppose. Denver, etc., 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 and a bunch of other stuff. It's pretty much, it's on the center, on the east side of the
Eastern
US, is what I'm
coast,
trying to say. Yeah. That's pretty
basically.
much what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that back in there for us to have a look at.
So Hartsfield believed he could also make it the air transport hub.
Yeah, that is a great vision that worked out very, very well for Atlanta. Very well for Atlanta indeed. As you can tell.
So
isn't it the
Hartsfield-
world's busiest airport
yeah.
or something?
yeah, that is one of the facts. It
Yeah.
is the world's busiest airport. Yeah.
Right. So
So-
there you go. That worked.
Hartsfield he was the one who helped establish Atlanta's first airport in 1925, which is now a certain terminal at the airport.
Okay.
And he did invest heavily, which raised a lot of criticism during his time. But it did work out, because
It
he
did.
wasn't wrong, because the airport is now Georgia's largest employer.
There you go.
63,000 people work there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And
Well,
it generates a $35 billion economic impact for Atlanta and $66 billion for Georgia each year.
yeah, without that airport right now, I guess Atlanta would be a poorer region.
Yeah.
That is
So
brilliant.
Hartsfield did that in 1925.
Right, that his
But
vision
Maynard
was.
Jackson,
Uh-huh.
Maynard Jackson was the mayor from 1970s to 1990s. And he
Okay.
was the one who oversaw the investment and the plans for the terminal complex that began in 1977 and ran up all the way to the 96 Olympics.
I believe, right before I comment on that, I believe we have a subscriber. Liam A has just subscribed. Welcome on board, Liam. Thank you very much for your subscription. We hope you enjoy the channel, and thank you very much for subscribing. Welcome on board, mate. Welcome on board. Feel free to say hello in the chats if you want to. We are very interactive here at Fly the Noob. Yes. You were saying you're talking about the mayor, I believe?
Yeah, Maynard Jackson.
That's
so
right.
he oversaw the investment and the plans for the terminal complex that began in 1977 and ran up to the 96 Olympics. This was built as the largest construction project in the South. It included terminals, it included concourses, runways, international facilities, and connectivity. By connectivity, I mean the Atlanta's MARTA rail service was extended to the airport with the opening before the opening of the airport station in 1988.
Interesting. Interesting. So we got that, which is pretty cool if you ask me. That is pretty cool.
Yup, it is.
Atlanta. Who knew? Who knew that all this stuff came from just an airport? That is
It
fascinating.
also has the tallest ATC tower in the US.
Now we're getting to the quirky stuff. I like that. Tallest
Yep.
ATC tower in the United States. That's saying something.
It
Wait.
rises up to, yeah,
Hold on, if you don't mind. That brings me.
Sure.
Why don't we check for which one is the tallest ATC tower in the world? That reminds me. Let's find that out. How about that?
yeah. Let me check that out.
Let's check that out.
All right.
Okay.
So the tallest ATC tower in the world
Yes.
is in Asia, in Saudi Arabia, at Jeddah.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. Jeddah Airport is something
Yeah.
else.
King Abdulaziz International Airport in Jeddah.
Yeah.
It has a height of 446 feet, which is 136 meters.
Right. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. The Middle East, it seems they're quite into building tall stuff, as you would probably imagine.
Yeah.
And that airport, if I'm not mistaken, is one of a kind. Is it not? You know what? We'll save talking about that airport in detail for today's flight. We'll talk about that airport in detail when we actually fly there. Right? Makes more sense.
Yep,
We'll save
that
that
would
up.
be nice. Yeah.
That'll be nice. So for now, let's stick to what else do we got about Atlanta? There's some interesting quirky facts if you have any more left about Atlanta.
Yeah, coming
Airport.
back to the ATC tower though,
Right.
it rises up to 398 feet, which is 121 meters.
Good
and-
Lord.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, because it's the world's busiest airport. That's why it requires a sizable ATC tower.
Right, so that they can
It was-
have a good look.
Yeah, exactly, basically, yeah. It was built in 2006 and opened with the airport's southerly runway, which is the 1028.
Okay.
And it's also the fifth runway that was added.
Oh wow.
Yep.
It makes sense, huh? You need something very tall because the airport is probably okay. It is massive. I mean, I've seen Atlanta before, obviously from the. I've flown in there a couple of times when I was testing some aircraft. Now, have I flown a proper route? Yes, I have. I have flown to Atlanta.
Yeah. It's
So-
also the fifth tallest in the world.
Okay.
And one weird fact about Atlanta though,
What's
it
that?
was very, very late to get international flights. The first international flights began in 1970s.
Yeah, but at that time, was it even a big airport?
Yes, it was. and it was because Pan Am it started transatlantic passenger flights in the late 1930s, and in 1940s, regular passenger service to Europe was a norm. So yes, it is a big deal because Atlanta had its first international service until 30 years after that.
Okay, fine.
And that too was established by a route to Mexico City, which is still not transatlantic. So it really took them a while.
Took him a while. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Makes sense there. That makes sense. Hold on a minute. I've been lost in all these factoid stuff. Gotta take a look at how far. Okay, we're still quite a bit away from Atlanta here. We've just crossed Washington. And we are about to go on towards Fredericksburg and past Charlottesville. So we're still way away from Atlanta here. So that is interesting. I'm glad that we wrapped up the Atlanta stuff, though. That is important.
I do have two more facts waiting.
Oh, great! Let's take a look at
Yep.
those. Let's take a look at those.
So the second last one is that it's an art lover's paradise. There are thousands of artworks throughout the airport, and it has a long history of commissioning and displaying exceptional artwork for nearly 300,000 people who pass through the airport each day.
Each day.
Yep, each day.
Okay. So it does it have like a dedicated art gallery, or it's just throughout the airport?
It does have a few art galleries, but most of them are just throughout the airport.
Very nice.
Yeah. The airport also commissioned and installed large-scale permanent artworks by local artists, for which, interestingly, it also won 2 Governor Awards for the arts, which doesn't really happen in case of airports, but in this case it did.
Interesting. This is all good stuff, man. I'm having a good time here.
Yeah.
I believe if you look below here, we'll be able to see where my mouse pointer is. We're able to see an airport. Okay, right below us, and I believe that is Washington. I believe that is Washington. Yeah, that is Washington Airport, KIAD, Washington Duels International. If I'm not butchering that name too, is it Duels or Dude? Yeah, it has to be Duels. KIAD, Kilo India Alpha, is D Delta. It is, right?
Yep, he is Delta.
So yeah, Kilo India Alpha Delta. Washington Duels right there. That is the airport that we just passed. So yeah, it's nice to see that airport there. Perhaps someday we'll land into that and fly into that if we can find some scenery for it. I hate the default airports in MSFS so bad. They're terrible. The default airports in Microsoft Flight Simulator, both 2020 and 24, just absolutely terrible. Even at night, the lighting is terrible. Everything is just terrible. On the other hand, if you go to X-Plane 12, which I'm yet to feature on my channel, the lighting is so much better. The default airports are so much better. So yeah, that is a complaint I have. Let's have a look at another view, shall we? Oh, look at that. The PMDG.
I have 2 more interesting facts remaining. One is probably what we've already discussed. It's the nation's busiest airport since 1942, and has also been the world's busiest since 1998. So it's been pretty busy since like forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been pretty busy since my birth, pretty much.
Yeah. And it's
busy.
built on land that was the former Atlanta Speedway, which was an abandoned racetrack, which was actually purchased by Asa Candler. I think I again butchered that name, but he is the founder of Coca-Cola.
Oh wow.
Yup.
We're learning a lot of good stuff today. That is an interesting trivia there.
Yeah. So that's all from Atlanta, Hartsfield Jackson.
Well, if that's all, then I would like to go on to complaining a little bit. One thing I don't like about PMDG are the default views. The default external views are just not good. When you go for default external views, it puts you on the inside and gives you this, which I'm not a fan of, if I'm being honest, because cabin views can be easily set up by yourself. External views, on the other hand, take a bit more work, if I'm not wrong. So that's not good. That is not good. It's weird that you have to go outside to go back inside. That is kind of odd as well. That is kind of odd as well. Let's change up that view right there into something like this. KATL, here we go. So we were having that discussion the other day on the other stream.
Yep.
Wait, hold on a second. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. We were having the discussion the other day on the stream about which one is your favorite aircraft to fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah.
And I don't believe we concluded that at all.
Yeah.
So in terms of Airbus, you're saying you like the A321, don't you?
Yep.
Right. And what about the Boeings?
Boeing, I haven't really flown the 777, but can I say the 777 anyways?
Yeah, sure.
But from what I have flown, it's definitely the 787.
The 787.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Dreamliner.
The Dreamliner, right?
But in real life, I believe it is again the 777.
The 777, yeah. It's a fantastic aircraft. It took
When it comes to the Airbus, though, in real life, it's definitely the A340. As
A340.
I think I did mention, yeah.
Yeah, you did. It's a good choice. It's a good choice. Unfortunately, the sim does not have a good A340 A340
not yet.
rendition. Yeah, I don't think it's even coming because I don't think so. There's a bunch of useless ones. I don't think anyone's working on an A340. Can you check that up real quick? Can you check up
Yep,
if
let me
anybody is working on an A340 for Microsoft Flight Simulator? I really doubt it. I really doubt it. Oh, hold on a second. I believe I've got. I want to try out the chat thing. Let's see if that's working.
Sure.
I thought I inserted it somewhere here. Oh, it's here. Sorry, my bad. I'm gonna have to copy it from here. Yeah, can you see the chats? You're able to see the chats, aren't you?
Not really.
What do you
Like
mean?
in the stream?
Yeah, it's on the stream. Have a look.
Oh yeah, I can actually. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, so that is something I've set up. Obviously, I need to configure it a little bit to make it a bit more visible and stuff. And
Yep.
I'll work on that in a bit. But for now, at least we've got some sort of chat going at the top there.
Yep.
Got some sort of chat on the left corner there, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're wondering. In the cinematic mode, I'm not going to put the chat. Doesn't make sense to have the chat in the cinematic mode, so I'm going to put the chat there. Not going to put the chat there. Brilliant. So for now, we'll just go back to cinematics and have a look at what's going on here. Yeah, so anybody developing the A340 that we can think of?
There is Latin VFR A340 that was
that's-
released last year.
Yeah, that's the one that's already existing, and if anybody knows anything about simulator, Latin VFR is
Yeah. But that's pretty much the best one in MSFS till date.
Oh damn. If that is the
Yeah.
best one, then I don't think there's much hope.
Although in the X-plane, there is the tallest Airbus A340,
You know,
which
that
is
is
a study level aircraft.
Yeah, that is a very, very good rendition of the A340. In X-Plane 12, there is the tallest one. Yep. That one's really good. Dude, I've already bought X-Plane 12. I've already bought it. I even set up the controls pretty much. I don't know why I'm just not flying it. I need to go back and fly it. I seriously need to feature it on the channel, because that is much. Look, for hardcore flight simmers who started off way before Microsoft Flight Simulators and stuff like that, I believe that is the way to go. The thing is, Microsoft Flight Simulator has a feeling of gaminess to it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
But X-Plane is just hardcore, straight up simulation. You either know what you're doing or you don't know. It's yeah, I like it. I really do. So yeah, I don't like the bells and whistles and all that stuff that come with MSFS for no reason sometimes. Like, okay, I got the Aviator Edition. I've got the career mode. Never used it once. I have never used it once. Perhaps I'll enter career mode for the first time on Livestream.
Yeah, that would be a nice idea.
Right? I'll start career mode off fresh, because it's fresh. I haven't done a thing. Maybe I'll start that on Livestream for the first time. I'll schedule that. Yeah, I'll schedule that as a live stream. So we'll see how that goes. So we need to talk about weather, right? Because we said we're gonna drastically degrade the weather as we come in. So let's have a look at some of the presets available to us today. How about that?
Yeah, but coming back to the A340 for just a second.
Yeah.
There is an A340 500 and 600 available by Just Flight, which isn't exactly study level, but it's pretty good.
Really?
It's pretty good and has good reviews.
For Microsoft Flight Sim?
Yeah, it's there for MSFS 2024.
Okay. What has just happened? Oh, we oversped because we changed the weather.
Alright, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's okay. Autopilot is still engaged though, so I'm not really worried about it. It's gonna take care of itself. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, VNav is on. Yeah, VNav is on. Okay. It's gonna do its thing, let it do its thing. Let's have a look at some of the weather here. Rain and clear. Okay, that's not good. Stratocumulus. We need something that's extremely terrible. So, heavy layers? No, we need something worse than that, don't we? We need something worse than heavy layers. We need something... I've got something called storm here. That could be useful. What do you think?
Yeah, that could be exactly what you
We'll
want.
try either heavy layers or we'll try storm. Right?
Yeah, but landing this in an actual storm is gonna be really, really tough.
It is, but that's the whole challenge, isn't it? And mind you, I've not performed this flight before, so I'm not cheating here. I'm not cheating here. So, there we go. What is going on with the... oh, I'm so sorry. That is a mistake on my part there. Okay, yeah, we need to... There we go. Yep, everything is looking like it's in order. We've got clouds up to 36,000 feet. That is... that is... yeah, that's storm, all right. That is storm. The top of descent is coming up in a long while now. It's going to be a while before we reach top of descent here. It's going to be a while before we reach top of descent here.
Going back to the part where you mentioned X-Plane is more like a simulator and MSFS is more like a game.
Right.
That's probably the reason why most of the study level aircrafts are there in X-Plane and not in MSFS.
Yeah,
Because they don't even bother developing it much unless like people actually really demand it. And to be honest, the X-Plane simmers haven't really transitioned to MSFS because of that reason. And that's also sadly the same reason why the developers won't make study level aircrafts. So it's basically a cat and mouse game right there.
right. Yeah, it makes sense though. It makes sense.
It does,
And-
yeah.
That's precisely why we have so few. I mean, nowadays, I have to say, these days, though, it's becoming more and more detailed at study level as more hardcore flight simmers take on MSFS and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's still pretty much the game. Like, you can still, there's so many aircrafts that are included in 2024 by default that are just garbage, you know?
Yeah.
There's nothing to them. They're not even in X-Plane 12. Even the default aircrafts are pretty good.
Yeah, basically.
So that is
I'm going through X-Plane 12 store right now,
right.
and there's some very interesting prices I see.
Oh yes.
There's actually aircrafts for $1,000.
What you're
quite
looking
a
at
lot of
there
them.
is a professional pack, if I'm not wrong, right?
No, it just says Boeing 767 upgrade for $1,000.
Yeah.
It doesn't mention anything about a professional
No,
pack or
that's an
anything.
upgrade for professional use.
Oh,
That is for professional use. I'm pretty sure it's a professional pack. Now, how exactly they're put to use, I'm assuming it's for flight training and flight sim training and stuff like that, because X-Plane is actually used by flight sim schools.
Yeah.
So,
but I believe it is generally more expensive than MSFS.
the
'Cause
aircrafts,
even
yes.
the liveries and the engine expansion, for example, is just a mod, and that's $15, which is kind of pricey. The liveries are a single livery is priced at $12.
Well, you can
So-
always find free liveries. There is
No,
X-Plane.
yeah, obviously you can, but just saying, like in the store, it seems like it is a bit more pricey than the MSFS.
Yes, I agree that X-Plane. Oh, look at that! There's a plane flying right underneath that layer of clouds there. Nice little detail. We can see the thunderstorms underneath there as well. That's what we want. Look, yes, it's true that X-Plane store, like the aircraft in X-Plane, are much more expensive, generally speaking, than the one in MSFS, but for good reason. They are simulated really, really well, you know, and they're done really, really well.
Yeah, that's there.
So that is the reason why they're expensive, and it makes sense. I would rather pay that price than, it's not like MSFS is much, much cheaper. Even the study level aircraft in MSFS are getting pretty expensive. Like we had the Inibills, which is like crossing what, $70-80 now? The A350, and it's not even the best aircraft. Like it's not even simulated that well. It's just, I mean, to be honest, Inibills A350 was just hyped up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just hyped up, and they paid all these big time streamers, I'm pretty sure. Not to mention any names, but they pretty much paid all the big time streamers to, you know, they're sponsored by them to go and showcase this thing, drum up some big hype around it, and everyone was flying it all the time. People are still flying it, and it's just, you know, it came out, it was disappointing. It really was. It had so many bugs. It wasn't feeling the way how people thought it should, and I mean, I tried to buy it when it first came out, and luckily, the servers were jammed at the time I tried to purchase it, which I didn't go back to it again, because after watching the reviews of most of the people flying it, I'm like, no, that's not what I expect for $70-80.
You're talking
No,
about which aircraft exactly?
A350, Inibills A350.
Oh yeah, by any builds, right?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
I'm not paying like what
Also, the A330, the one you have, is it by Aerosoft?
the one that's in default MSFS 2024 is by Inibills.
You're flying the default one.
Yeah, I mean that's the only one we have. We haven't purchased a separate A330 on the channel, not yet.
All right.
So
Because
I
there
mean,
is one by Aerosoft, which is a study level aircraft, but I believe the A330, the default one, they've improved it quite a lot. Like it's
yes,
pretty decent.
The
Yeah.
Inibills A330 is decent enough considering its default aircraft. Yes.
I think
Considering
the A350 is probably the same level of detail as the A330, even though they're selling it for $70.
I'm not sure about that. I can't comment on that because I have no direct comparison between the two that I haven't purchased it myself, right? But yeah, I
but
mean,
I'm just looking at reviews and people
yeah,
flying it. Like I feel like it is.
yeah, it
Which is
pretty
kind of
much.
sad.
I feel like that too. I mean, so the major streamers who were given the pre-release access to Inibills, they drummed it up. They drummed that aircraft up so much. You know, they were talking about how much better the visual graphics and whatever. It's pretty much maybe slightly better, in my opinion, from what I've seen in the videos. Maybe in the sim it's much better, but in the videos it just looks like, oh, another well done aircraft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is something that is interesting. It is well done, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not to take away anything from Inibills there, but 70 pounds, come on. No. And they've had like a couple of updates where they were fixing issues and people are still having issues. I'm like, in 2020 some of the issues are not there. I'm like, come on. And I watch a lot of streamers, a lot of different channels of all sorts of sizes when it comes to flight sim, right from just sub 1000 to all the way to like 3-digit thousand subscriber channels, and they all pretty much have the same issues whether they are flying it or not, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm not willing to spend 70 pounds on an aircraft that is like that. No, sir, no. Although any builds seem to have good feedback loop with the customers in some ways. They seem to be improving it with updates all the time, which is good to hear, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you spend 70 pounds on an aircraft, that's great to hear. But yeah, that's a Inibills A350 for you. The last thing that we have that came up was then the other thing that came up was not the last thing, but the Coronado F-33A, which I felt like another very, very peculiar story because it is so similar to the F-35, I mean V-35B in the simulator, having the exact same
Yeah.
bugs. I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense to me to buy the F-33A.
But that's also by Coronado, right?
That's also by Coronado, the F-35B.
The only difference is the tail, I believe.
The only difference is the tail, pretty much.
Yeah. They're
And-
both Bonanzas.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make any sense.
Doesn't. The V-35 had a bug with the GNS system that was installed in it, and so did the F-33A. The exact same freaking bug, you know? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense, mate. You literally just ported that aircraft, changed the tail up, and you sold it for whatever price, and people are going nuts over it. And they're like, oh no, it's so fantastic. They're zooming into the graphics. They're showing you the little plaques and the text. They're like, this is so well done. I did the same thing with the V-35B, which is in the default MSFS 2024. It's the exact same level of detail. Maybe marginally better. Okay, I'm gonna say maybe. I don't even think it's marginally better, but maybe it's marginally better to give for that window of error on my part. Maybe it is. Who knows? But even then, come on, mate. It's just you paid a price for it, and that's why in your brain it has to be better, and that's what most people are doing.
Yeah.
I've tried to watch a lot of the videos and try and compare it, and that's pretty much the conclusion that I keep coming back to. Anyway,
I think
we've
you
got
even made a video comparing the both of them, right?
to some degree, because obviously I didn't purchase the F-33A.
Yeah.
I couldn't really make a fair comparison, so I didn't do that directly, but I did mention
But you
it.
did speak about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is something going on here. It's either it could be any one of these things. That's a problem. It's either the IRS or the fuel or the electric. I don't know which one it is. Oh, that is so silly. Because if you come
It's
overhead,
We have to go through the storm anyways. You're gonna get quite a lot of those warnings.
I suppose so. Let me turn the
Yeah.
window heats back on, by the way, because they have been off
Yeah.
for some time now. Remember? Anything else we need to do here? I don't see anything else being the problem.
Top of descent is coming soon, right?
Top of descent is not coming soon. This display is actually misleading. It's more than 160 nautical miles away.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
You wanna fast forward it a bit?
yeah. I'm considering fast forwarding this thing now.
Yeah,
Does
it
it-
would make sense.
Yeah, I mean we have nothing else going on between now and top of descent is a straight line anyway. So yeah, let's
Yeah.
go ahead and fast forward it a little bit. You know, now that we've flown for this much, we've chatted along for quite a bit now, right?
Yep.
So since we have traffic.
We chatted along for like about 100 minutes.
Yeah,
1.5 hour or so.
yeah, we've chatted for a while now. So let's go ahead and
Yeah.
fast forward this thing up. We're coming up on 1 hour 44 minutes on the stream anyway, so that's 1 hour 45 coming up. So we better wrap this up within 2.5 hours. So to do that, we need to fast forward. So let's go ahead and This is the fast forward. EM, am I not too much late? You're not late, EM. Welcome to today's live stream, which was real fun. We had fun chatting up a lot, so you missed quite a bit of conversation. But beyond that, we're actually now going to fast forward pretty much towards the top of descent. So you are right on time, Mr. EM. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in and popping in and saying hello in the chat. Feel free to be part of the discussion, as always. Look at that nice little break. Look at that scenery. Before I fast forward anything, look at that scenery right there. Look at that. Tell me that doesn't look nice, man.
That's amazing.
That looks
It's
beautiful.
Yep,
Gorgeous
it does.
stuff. Let's look at the other side. Ooh, wow. Now, important to note, we're not on live weather. Remember, we're supposed to be landing into terrible weather here today on today's live stream, as promised in the previous live stream and in the title. So that is what we're doing today, ladies and gentlemen. My God, that is good. That's some good
a
stuff.
horrid storm down there.
That is, yeah. I think I'm getting myself into a nice little pickle here.
Yeah.
A serious pickle
Hopefully
here.
it's worth it. Yeah.
Hopefully it is worth it. Just taking a couple of screenshots for later thumbnails of this live stream. Anyway, let's head back into the cockpit and let's fast forward ourselves till we are much closer to the top of descent, shall we? So, in case you're wondering what you're seeing as a part of the panel, Anas, oh, that is Anas on Twitch. Twitch looks good too. Thank you very much, Mr. Anas, for going over on Twitch and following me. Oh, he was already following me from a while before. Yep, that is. Thank you very much, and thank you for confirming that my Twitch looks good. I appreciate that a lot. I don't get chat on Twitch. That's really cool of you. Thank you very much. EM says scary clouds should be fun. Should be mighty fun today. EM should be mighty fun. So, the panel that you're looking at right now is a sim rate selector panel that I've downloaded for free from flightsim.to. It's very useful. It works. There's one for both 2020 and 2024, and it works beautifully. So you should check that out. So let's go ahead and fast forward it into 8 speed here. So we'll be there in no time now.
I think those are the blackest clouds I've ever seen.
Yeah, probably. They look dark.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a menace. I think it's going to be a menace as we come in today. It is going to be a menace. So let's fast forward ourselves, since we've been on here for 1 hour and 47 minutes at this point. We got to fast forward and get ourselves to top of descent. 160 nautical miles an hour. So as you can see, now when the altitude deviates too much, or when the autopilot is having a hard time holding the aircraft on course, we got to slow it down to into 4. So everything stabilizes once again, and once it does, we can go back up to 16, depending on turbulence. So if you try to fast forward this into 16 on a very turbulent day, the aircraft is going to go haywire and things are going to disconnect, and it's not going to be good. You're going to have to bring back the sim rate and put everything back with a way to us, so it's not going to be good. If it's turbulent, you can use up to into 4. If it's not turbulent and ultra smooth, you can use up to into 16. So just a little tip for you guys. You can go ahead and pick this up from flightsim.to. It is free and it's very, very, very useful. If you're performing, like for example, live streams or videos or whatever it is that you're doing, and you're performing really, really long flights, but you don't want to sit there for like 7 hours, 13 hours, this is the thing to go to. Very, very nice. Anyway, obviously you can use inbuilt controls and you can assign controls to increase the rate and whatever. Why bother with all of that when you have a panel here? Okay, brilliant. Top of descent coming up. Let's go ahead and increase that speed right there. Altitude is getting away from us slowly, but we've got some more room before we need to bring this thing back down. Okay, we're looking good. We're looking good. So Anas, any thoughts before we come into top of descent? EM, any thoughts before we come into top of descent? Anybody who's watching, if you got any thoughts before we come into top of descent, feel free to let me know in the chat. All right. EM, for me, this app Twitch is deleted sadly from all app stores. I also tried to find but not find it, so I better watch you here at Flight and Noob. Not a problem at all, EM. I appreciate your viewership, whichever and wherever is more comfortable for you. Ooh, see that? This happens. So we gotta now go back to into 4 And so yeah, EM, wherever is more comfortable for you, that is perfectly fine. And that's perfectly fine by me, mate. It's going to be 0 visibility, says Anas. My goodness. Benny, did you hear that? Anas tells us that it's going to be 0 visibility.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, does it have an auto land feature? The 737.
The 737 does have an auto land feature, if I'm not mistaken. I think you
might
have to
want to use it.
Oh
Yeah.
no, that's cheating, mate. We can't do that here. That's cheating. If we auto landed, what is the point of calling it an extreme weather landing?
It's still an extreme weather landing.
So like we can be like, technically it is still an extreme weather landing. We just happen to use the autopilot. I think we have to engage both the autopilots here once we reach once we're into approach mode. If we engage all 4 or all 2 of them, we should have auto land available to us. I believe that's how it works. So I'll test that out off stream and off video sometime, and then we'll test it out on another stream. But for today, we're gonna do a hand flying. I hope I'm not getting myself into a pickle by saying that, eh? I hope.
I do have a question for our viewers though.
Okay.
EM and anyone who's watching, how do you guys feel about me being on the streams? Is it enjoyable, or would you not want me?
That's an
just want
interesting
your
question.
I just want your opinion, EM.
But I always feel like it's more fun when there is a shared cockpit of some sorts. You know what I mean? Someone to enjoy the journey with you and have discussions. I mean, otherwise it's very hard to keep up conversation, especially given that my channel is so tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really nice to have somebody, and it's also more engaging for the viewer, I'm pretty sure.
So EM and Anas, please let me know.
Yep, let us know. Top of descent into 2 speed. Let's go ahead into 4 speed here. We need to get to the top of descent quickly here, because we've been going for 2 hours almost. We need to get this bad boy on the ground. And besides, Mr. Benny, guess what?
What?
It's more fun with the facts and you, Benny. All right, Mr. Anas. Mr. Anas likes your presence there. He doesn't seem to mind that I call you Anas once in a while either. That's great. That is good for us. But yeah, this is cool. It is cool. Fantastic. Fantastic. My thoughts exactly, Mr. Anas. EM, if you are still here, feel free to chime in. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think, mate. Yeah. All right. I don't have a lot of friends. EM wins will play with this light plane. Of course, we're interesting all about flight simulators and flights and stuff like this. Okay. I think EM has given you the vote of approval as well, Mr. Benny.
All right.
Yeah, EM has definitely given. Okay, we're coming up on top of descent here. I better turn this into 1 speed now. We're coming up on top of descent, and we need to go down to 25,500 feet. Liam A says hello there, mate. I saw your subscription a while ago. Gave you a little shout out, but hello there. Glad to see that you're chiming in on the chat. Welcome. Oh, and in talking to Liam, I have gone beyond what I wanted to. 25,000 is what we are looking for, right? So let's just go ahead for that. Yeah, there we go. Top of descent coming up. Yep.
Yeah, before you engage it, you're gonna stop the fast forward, right?
I have. The fast forward is now completely stopped, as you can tell.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So now we are basically just descending down, and we need our signs to be on completely at this point. Yeah, Liam, I'm glad to see you in the chat, and welcome. Feel free to chime in anytime you like with any sort of comment or questions. Liam A says, I'm going to buy me a PC and I'm going to try to get Microsoft and play with people on free play, and I haven't played Microsoft in my whole life, so that's why I'm getting a PC. Yeah, I definitely recommend you play this on PC, Liam. Just so you know, there is also Microsoft Flight Simulator available on the Xbox. So if you are looking for a cheaper option to play Microsoft Flight Simulator with other people too, you can go for the Xbox as well.
I believe the Xbox option, it comes free with the Game Pass, correct?
Yes, if you have Game Pass, I believe you can use Microsoft Flight Simulator as well. So if you are an Xbox If you're an Xbox gamer, you can definitely look into that, Liam. But otherwise, a PC is definitely the way to go because you have a lot more options, a lot more mods, and yeah, graphics are also. To be honest, graphics are still great on Xbox. It's not like it's terrible on Xbox. It really isn't terrible. So yeah. And yeah, let me know, what is your background in flight sim? Are you a complete newcomer to flight simming in general, or is it just Microsoft Flight Simming that you are new to, Liam? Let me know. Abhishek Thapa says, I love your voice, bro. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Abhishek, and thank you so much for that kind comment there. I appreciate it very much. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're having a good time. EM says also you can get FSX. This flight simulator also good but old. If something gone wrong, that's right. FSX is also a choice, but it is old and a lot of support is dwindling for it as well. But it is it's a flight simulator that's been out for a really long time, so FSX is a good choice too. Depends on what your background in flight simming is, Liam. All right, so we are coming in hot and heavy at this point into Atlanta. As you can tell, we're coming in hot and heavy. We're coming in a little fast, and yeah, we're a little faster than we should be at our next waypoint. But I think we're okay for the most part. Benny, what do you think?
I feel like it's all right.
It's just all right, right?
You've still got a long way to go.
Still got a long way.
Looking at the visibility, you're gonna have none of it down there.
Yeah, true.
Because there's dark clouds, darker ones than these. So
and
let's hope for the best.
I need to deploy my speed brake here because we did have a message from the FMC saying that it needed some drag. So I'm gonna give it a bit of drag here.
Can you show us the speed brakes?
Sure. That is a good point. Let's look at that from the passenger's point of view. We got the speed brakes engaged and those clouds are looking like soot. All right. Great. Okay, so that is looking terrible right now. But that's exactly what we want. We want the weather to look terrible. As advertised on the stream title there, that is exactly what we want. We want the weather to be terrible because this is a terrible weather landing. Let's see how I do. I'm not feeling too confident today, but let's see how we do it. Traffic, huh? Traffic. Let's have a look at it. Oof. Good Lord. What have we got ourselves into? Benny, you looking at this?
Yep.
What are we?
But mind you, you're still pretty high. You're still at 28,000 feet.
That's
so
right.
It only gets darker from here onwards.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
There's a little break in the cloud there. We can tell that it's going to be one hell of a ride here, which is what we want. Yeah, so let's see what we can do here. Let's see what we can do here. Did you see that flash of lightning? There's a bunch of... Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. That is cool. Head back in there, 27,000 feet. Okay, it looks like we're gonna make it. Looks like we're gonna make it. Yeah, we're just about gonna make it. The speed is also... Yeah, the speed is under control as well. Should I drop the flaps? I should, right? Technically I should, but I'm not gonna do it just yet. Just gonna wait for a bit. Just gonna wait for a bit here. 25,000 feet coming up, after which we need to go down to 22,000 feet in 10 nautical miles, which shouldn't be much of a problem. Let's zoom in a little bit here.
One interesting thing on the flight bar you have at the very top, it says ETE is only 8 minutes. That doesn't seem accurate at all. Because ETE is still touchdown. And I don't know.
Let me have a look at
yeah.
Let me have a look at the Elevatics data here. Elevatics data tells me, yeah, it is apparently arrival is in 8 minutes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that is it. It now says 7 minutes. So I I mean, we are making very good progress through this plan. If you look at this, we are pummeling through this, and basically there's just like a U-turn left into the airport. You get my point?
Yeah.
So that it might be accurate. Oh, there's a runway right there. Look at that. There's a little runway right there. 2 of them, as a matter of fact. Let's go and figure out what airfield that is before I believe we are looking at KWDR, which is Barrow County. We are looking at the Barrow County Airport right there. Anyway. Let's see, 25,022. Oh, we need to slow down. God damn it, I forgot about this. We need to descend down here to 22,500 in 6 nautical miles. A little late on my part, but that's okay. I think we still have it pretty much under control here. What is the speed coming down to here? Still 244. I want the speed. What is the look? Here's the thing I don't understand. Right, the FMC tells us 244. And the VNAV auto throttle is doing something else. So I'm going to drop the flap here. Drop that flap right there. Let's drop it to position number 2 here. Flaps traveling. Let's have a look at that in the... There we go. Flaps are traveling. Very nice. Benny, I don't think the estimated arrival time is very accurate because it now still says 7 minutes. So, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make much sense. But, you know, it's a good estimate. What it does is it estimates the estimated time of touchdown based on your current speed. Obviously, we're going to slow down much more before we even come into touchdown. So it doesn't account for that. You get the point?
Hey, but you've already slowed down pretty much if you go back into the cockpit.
No, I have, but we're still above 200 knots here. Oh,
you're not.
We're at 190 knots here. But by the time we touch down, we're going to be at 150, 145, somewhere there. So I don't think it's accounting for all of that correctly. Eesh. That is not looking good in the speed department, is it?
Yep, it isn't.
Flaps 5, and we've still got pretty much all of that going on. Okay, so why isn't it descending right now? We need to go down to 17,000 feet. I need to stay on top of my altitude here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to command the descent directly down to 14,000 feet here. I don't want to miss the next one. Okay. Liam A says okay.
If you mix the...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if you miss the glide slope, it's going to be pretty impossible to land this thing.
It is. It's going to be very, very difficult to land it. So I'm going to... Oh, I know why we're getting this speed thing. It's because of my speed brakes being open here, but just trying to descend quickly, really. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so... Yeah, EM, what you're looking at is lightning, and it's all around us. It is all around us, mate. It is all around us. I assume that Liam is saying okay to what I was saying earlier about the flight sim and stuff. But yeah. Okay. Damn, we are getting battered already, as you can tell. We're
still above the clouds, though.
Yeah, we're still above 25,000 feet at this point. Just coming down under. And we're having a rough time here. Why are we slowing down so much, though? That is what I don't understand. We're going down
I think it's
to
your speed brakes.
Okay, you know what? Let me store them back up. I don't think so, because the FMC is actually commanding that speed. And
the FMC is.
I don't understand why it's doing that. Is there a limit on speed somewhere there? I don't know. I don't know what it's doing, but it's doing its thing. Let it do its thing, I guess. But we need to descend. Descent is more prioritized at this point. And that's not happening at this moment, right? We've got 6 nautical miles to go down to 17,000 feet, and why aren't we descending? We're not descending. I don't like it. You know what? I'm going to go to VS. I'm going to ask it to go straight down here. And as for speed, I'm going to go up to... I'm going to go up in speed a little bit, because I don't want to be this slow. Get my point?
Yeah.
Our flaps somehow seem to be stuck. Let's put it down to 2. I don't want to be at this speed here, so I'm going to go up to 200 knots.
You
Well-
might also want to be dropping a bit faster than 1000.
Absolutely correct there. Going to be dropping at least 2k. What is my
Maybe at least
altitude?
2500.
Even
We're still
more.
at 24,000.
Yeah, this is not good. This is not good, man. This is not good, but there it is. That is what we want. That is fine. We can ask it to descend a little steeper here. Let's go down to 3. Let's go down to 3 here. We are maintaining our speed at... Okay, 210 knots is fine by me, to be honest. Because according to this, we're supposed to be at 244 knots, right? So, what's the issue? What is the issue here, mate? Let's find out.
It does say 244, but the FMC was, I don't know,
Yeah.
doing what?
That's something I don't understand. Sometimes the 737 does that, sometimes it doesn't. And I don't know. It's just probably because I don't know this aircraft well enough, you know.
Yeah,
Probably has its reason. Into the deep dark cloud. Oh yeah, until EM said that I didn't look up. There we go. You're very right. Into the deep dark cloud we go, and we are entering lightning officially. From here on out, ladies and gentlemen, say goodbye to visibility. There we go. I guess that was it. I don't know. Maybe we'll catch a break at some point. Sum 41 says Abhishek Thapa. What does he say? Sum 41. Sum 41. What does Sum 41 mean, mate? I have no idea what that means. If you don't mind elaborating, what does Sum 41 mean?
Sum 41 is a rock band. I don't know if he's referring to that.
What? No. I think he's talking about our speeds, most likely. What
Probably.
time are y'all landing? Liam A, look at this. We are right here at the moment and coming into descent. It's simply a U-turn into landing. So I'm estimating, realistically speaking, about 10 minutes. Into the... Oh, you are right, Benny. Abhishek was talking about the song by Sum 41. Well done. Well done. Nice. Nice. Okay, we need that speed break out because we are overspeeding, almost overspeeding, and I don't want to do that. Well, okay. Into the Deep is a song by Sum 41. Glad you know that, Benny. I didn't know that. EM 2 says de-icing. Do we need de-icing today? We probably do, don't we? But we don't have any warnings here for de-icing, so I'm going to leave it for the time being. It's just... okay, we can switch our barometric pressure to the local one, which is 29 what? 29.92 today. Oh, okay. Not a problem. Okay, we're having an issue here. We need to descend. We need to descend here. This is not good. This is not good. Let's go
You
down
need
to...
to engage the speed brakes as well, I believe.
I have deployed the speed brakes to the best of my abilities at this point. I don't think it's capable of maintaining this descent rate, so I'm not entirely sure how we're gonna... Okay, you know what? Let me just flatten it out to 2,800. Yeah, we're having an issue. We can't descend this quickly. Hopefully, we'll catch a break somewhere around. Yeah, we do have a break here. Luckily, from the waypoint of Shirt to Remak, there is 6 nautical miles, and we only need to drop 1,000 feet. So that is where we'll catch up on our altitude, luckily for us. And there are no restrictions. We are overspeeding technically at this point. I need to flatten out our descent. I need to flatten this descent out so we don't overspeed. So yeah, let's do that. There we go. Ooh, we've got a very beautiful break, and look at that scene out the window, ladies and gentlemen. That doesn't get much better than that. Does it get much better than that? I don't think so. I don't think so. Another interesting fact about the channel, Mr. Benny, is that 98% of our viewers are male. Very few female audience, so... And I believe I know one of the viewers is Swasti, I believe. So, yeah. Looking real nice. That is a beautiful scene. I gotta take a screenshot of that right here. Excuse me, guys. There we go. It's a quick screenshot right there. That is a beautiful looking scene right there. Absolutely. You're right, Abhishek. That looks absolutely awesome. That looks great. Look at that. Okay, you know what? Let me head back into the cockpit here. I forgot we are missing out our top of descent quite badly, right? Let's go down to 10,000 feet in advance here. Although we've made our altitude quite successfully. Let's go to 10,000 feet in advance. Let's see if VNAV works this time. Is it gonna work? Let's find out. Stow our speed brakes back up, and the second I press VNAV, guess what? It goes back down to 180 knots. I don't know, man. I don't know what it's doing, but I don't know what it's doing. Okay, let's go down to flaps 5. I'm just going to leave it the way it is for the time being. Once again, these scenes are so lovely that I have to keep looking back. Wait, is that an airport? There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Atlanta. Benny, do you see that? Do you see that?
Yep, I do.
There is our gorgeous Atlanta airport, and as you can see, look at the amount of buildings on that thing. That is a massive airport. That is a massive airport.
So the facts were right. Hartsfield and Jackson really did a number on it.
They did do a number on it. Taking a quick screenshot there. That is freaking lovely. Freaking lovely. Let's go down here to the front. Make sure that we're actually descending. Yes, we are. Flaps at 5. Angle of attack is a little high, so we're going to go down to flaps 10 here. Yeah, we're slowing down well in advance, and I'm not complaining. Ooh, there we go. First signs of trouble right in the cockpit. Little flash of lightning there, but it's so gorgeous. My goodness, it is gorgeous. I wish I was a passenger on this flight in real life. Me too. I love myself a bumpy ride. I know that sounds weird, but I love bumpy rides into the rain and to the storm. Liam says, I was in Atlanta on the 17th. What date? But I was like in May. But it was like on the 16th or 15th or 17th. And if the flight was fun, okay, and the flight was fun, we went to New York and then we went to Atlanta. Nice, Liam. Hope you enjoyed your little trip. Hope you enjoyed your trip between New York and Atlanta, which incidentally happened to be the flight that we're on right now, right? We are flying from New York as well. Okay. 6,000. I'm going to go directly to 6,000 feet here. Yeah, I'm going to go directly to 6,000 feet here. Okay. It is beautiful here. It is very, very beautiful here. I haven't heard from Benny in a while. Is Benny with us?
Yup, I'm here. I'm just enjoying the views.
Oh, yeah, I don't blame you, mate. I don't blame you. Let me put that on for you. Look at that. Goodness me. That looks so real. You can't get a view this good in 2024. You can't. The level of details are just missing from the ground in 2024. It really is gorgeous. Anas, yes, it is very gorgeous, mate. It's very, very gorgeous indeed. Look at the other side of it. Anas has been kind of quiet. All right. In case you're not reading the chat, Benny, Abhishek says he's with you on the scenery there.
Oh,
He
yeah.
says, I feel you.
Yeah, it really is pretty.
Okay, very nice. Okay, we're supposed to be heading down, and for some reason our autopilot in all its wisdom has decided I'm not going to descend.
You might want to engage VS here.
Yeah, I'm just going to engage the VS here and ask it to go down myself. Because we don't have time to wait, and I'm going to take out the speed brakes as well. Let's go down directly to 6,000 feet. We're supposed to be 6,000 somewhere here. Okay, so now basically we can go down to 4,000 feet and then we can carry on towards Hardy whenever we are ready with our altitude pretty much. So
Are we already on the ILS, or what's the transition waypoint to the ILS?
we're not yet on the ILS. We need to wait till Hardy here.
Hardy is the transition?
Hardy. I don't think it's a transition. I think it's just the first waypoint on the glide slope.
Oh.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But we can continue on our journey till Stump here. Is it called? Yeah, Stump. And then we'll take our time in turning in. There's no rush here today. I want to take my time, make sure we're in the right altitude. We'll be at 4,000 feet. I already
You're
saw.
still slowing down though.
Yeah, there's no need for the speed brake anymore, pretty much.
Yeah.
So we're just taking our time, descending down to 4,000 feet, looking good here. 6,000 feet, sorry, looking good here. Looking good, not an issue. Brilliant. Let's just have a quick look in here. Look at that. That is a surreal scene right there. Hopefully when we land into Atlanta there will be storm, otherwise I might have to put on something. So we got two weather presets available to us. We got the storm and we've got the heavy layers, which also seems pretty bad in my opinion, right? So it's up to us here which one we want to go with. Oh my goodness, what is going on right now? Oh, because I changed the weather, obviously. Okay. Going to allow the aircraft here to stabilize a little bit and descend down here. 1,100. Come on, cut that speed out, mate. Cut that speed out. Let's put that at 170. Okay, I'm just going to stick to this weather. Hopefully when we land into Atlanta, it will be stormy and rainy in Atlanta. If we want, we can make the weather a little worse here. Yeah, we can. I mean, it's pretty bad. Coverage, let's push up the coverage here to nearly 84%. That's a good coverage there. That is pretty much fine. Yep, where is precipitation? I have no idea where precipitation is. Where is precipitation, mate? Can't see precipitation. Anyway. Storm it is, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we can't really see much, as you can tell. We probably need the panel lights and all that stuff, right? So let me go ahead and put on some lights for us here. There we go. Main panel on. Background lights on. A little bit of lights there on. A little bit of panel lights there on, panel brightness there on. Let's turn all of that up and we are ready. Okay, let me get Sky Dolly running here before I make the turn. Sky Dolly is running. Benny, anything to say before we go in for landing?
Actually, I do have two tiny factoids for us about Atlanta Airport once again.
Might be a little late for factoids, but go ahead.
Yeah, it is the corporate headquarters and the primary hub of Delta Airlines, which is exactly the airline we are flying. We're flying back into our hub.
That is pretty much right. We need to turn on all our lights here. I'm going to turn on even the taxi lights here, logo lights, wing lights, the whole deal. All the bells and whistles are going on. There we go. What else do we need here now? We need to turn ourselves into Hardy. Okay, so I pretty much believe we're ready to do that, so let's go ahead and do that and execute that turn. Turning into Hardy. So we're here right now, so we're turning back in towards Hardy here. Okay, so that's a turn we're making.
One last fact before we go in for the final.
Sure.
So in Atlanta, ironically, thunderstorms are most common. They're the most common occurring thunderstorms in the US.
Oh, there we
go. They happen in the spring and summer months, which is pretty much right now.
Oh, and, sorry. Hold on a second. My bad. Yeah. I dropped the flaps before I dropped the gear. That is a mistake on my part. That's gonna go away right away. Hopefully. Why isn't it going away? Why isn't that horn going away? For the love of God.
You might want to put it away yourself.
Yeah, but I can't. It's not. Where's the horn? Wait. Gotta go up here. Where is the horn cut out? There we go. It's an altitude horn cut out, actually. So 4,000 feet and we are coming down here. We seem to be descending quite well here. Nothing much else going on. There's the runway for us. Okay, there is the runway for us. We're ready, Mr. Benny. Let's turn to approach mode on this one. Now, you see how for some reason this is out of line here because our course is not set. What is the runway heading on the... I have no idea what the runway heading is, but I'm gonna turn it up here, or down here rather.
You can just check on little nav map, right?
Oh yeah, that is very true. I can just check on little nav map.
Yeah.
I could just check on little nav map. It is... What are we landing into again? I've forgotten. Runway 09 left. 09 left is heading 95. So let's set our course here to 95. Okay, let's set it to 95 here. Okay, this is going to be a very difficult landing. What have I gotten myself into, Mr. Anis? I mean, Mr. Benny.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to
So
do.
one day he's gonna get mad at you.
Yeah, one day he is. Okay, so 4,000 feet reach. We're pretty much stable here. Let's go outside and drop our gear, shall we? So let's take a look at our gears dropping right here, ladies and gentlemen. Gear drop. Enjoy the gear drop. Beautiful. It is going to be a very, very interesting, difficult landing. Oh, Anna says it's all right. Okay, thank God. Okay, gear drop is in position. We can drop our flaps now to our landing position as required. We can reduce our speed down here. I don't want to come in fast at all. I'm going to go down in our speed to 150 right away. Brilliant. Our speed brakes need to be in the armed position. Yes, they are. Auto brake should be at position number 2 today, because it's going to be a very, very bad landing if I'm not going to use the auto brake. Okay, and for some reason we don't have panel lights on top, and I really need them. So let's go ahead and make that happen. There we go. Brilliant. Brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're going to enjoy this, because I'm going to crap my pants trying to do this. Let's turn on approach mode here, because we can see the glide slope is going to come up. Okay, we don't need to turn this on just yet, to be honest with you. We don't need to turn that on just yet. 150, and our let's drop our flaps one more here, going down to 140 knots landing speed. I don't want to go any slower than 140 though, because I'm expecting a bit of gusting in the wind and stuff like that. So this is going to be interesting, isn't it? Okay, holding 4,000 feet. Traffic. Let's see. Ooh, look at how lovely we look, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. That deserves a screenshot right there, doesn't it? That does. But anyway, we're going to go back inside here. Okay, coming up on our mark where we shall turn on approach mode. Okay, we are going to go flaps down one more, but I am not going any slower than 140 knots today for our landing. Hopefully we won't have too much of gusts and stuff like that, but look at us right now. 10 nautical mile range. We're gonna put that down to 5 nautical miles on this. That means 10 nautical miles on this one. Okay, everything is looking set for landing. Is there anything that I'm missing that you can think of, Benny?
It seems pretty fine.
Seems pretty
If you're
fine.
missing something, then I am too.
Okay, fine. We're looking all right. Let's take a final look here. Okay, we've come into the glide slope and stuff, so let's go ahead and turn that on. Waiting for localizer and glide slope to be caught here, which is going to happen as soon as we make that turn. So let's, before we make that turn, let's have some quick look at the scenes here, which are looking absolutely lovely. Double checking that our sky dolly is running and functioning. Yes, it is, sir. Brilliant. Brilliant. Let's go to the other side, have a look at our views here. Again, very, very nice. Look at us.
There's some
Look at
nice
us.
wing flex going on.
Very nice wing flex going on. I don't think the
Yeah.
airport is as bad as... Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. We're going right into a cloud, aren't we? Glide slope has been caught, and we are... Looks like the perfect world. Yes, it does, EM, doesn't it? It looks like the perfect world indeed. We have single channel. Let's turn on both the autopilots here. I don't know what CAT system... I don't know if it's CAT 2 or CAT 3 or CAT 1. What kind of ILS are we going into? I have no idea. Can you turn on all 4 of them? No, you can't, right? Wait, I have no idea what these 2 are for. Now, I think... There we go. I think now we'll be able to... You know, I'm just gonna stick to this for the time being, and I'm gonna land it manually when the time comes, yeah? Okay, so pretty much we're ready for landing. Is that right, Mr. Bene?
It is, but hopefully you'll be able to handle it manually.
Hopefully I will be.
Yeah,
Let us find out,
let's
ladies and
wait
gentlemen.
see.
I'm kind of nervous, I'm not gonna lie here. Pretty nervous for this landing. I have not landed 737
Beautiful exterior though.
very, very much. Okay, 2,000 feet here. Oh my gosh, I think we need a little bit higher on that speed than... Let's put it at 150 here. No, we'll put it at 145?
Yeah, 45
No,
will be
actually,
good.
we need 40. We need 40. This thing is too finicky. Okay, we have 1,900 feet coming up. Getting ready to disengage autopilot. Good lord, here we go.
Are you though?
Let's find out, mate. Let's find out. At least we got sky dolly running, and we've got rain. We can turn on our wipers here if I can find them. There you go. You know what? I'm just gonna go full on with that thing.
Traffic.
I don't care about the traffic, mate. Don't care about the traffic. We should have probably changed our TA mode for whatever, but it's all cool. One last look at the cabin before I have to disengage autopilot. Look how good we're looking, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. The dream view right there. Okay, unfortunately I can't stay there for too long. 1,000 feet. Autopilot disengage. My aircraft. Oh, good lord, I can't see a thing. Yeah, you're right, EM. Autoland is not perfect at all, and we are dipping way too much. Okay. Oh my god, this is not gonna be an easy landing. Oh lord. Have some mercy. This is not good. This is not good.
Well, we can see something on the horizon.
Okay. Oh, the airport. Is that the airport?
500.
What the hell is going
Yeah,
on?
that's the runway right in front of you.
We're going way too high. Oh, there's the runway. Okay. Have visuals.
Yeah.
I have visuals. My aircraft. We're gonna float this a little bit. That's okay. Yeah, I got it. I got it. Calm down. I got it.
Sync rate.
Sync rate. Yes, yes, yes. I know. I got it. I got it.
30.
20.
10.
There we go. There we go.
Beautiful stuff.
Reverse applied. Auto brake should be functioning, is it? Yeah, it is functioning.
Beautiful.
That is good, and we've got somebody coming towards us there. But anyway, we're not slowing down well enough. Maybe we should have. Let me just put some manual braking there. Okay. We should have put more auto braking, right? We're effectively at the end of the runway at this point. Okay, there we go.
We just
Auto
went
brake
to one aircraft.
to off. Yeah, we just did. But we're good. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Atlanta Airport here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Before we clean up the aircraft, we're just gonna go in a little bit. Just gonna go in a little bit here. Let's turn on our taxi lights. Oh, it's already on. Good. Good. We're just gonna turn in right here, and I'm gonna have a look at the landing replay before we park. Or should I park first? What do you think, Benny? What do you want me to do?
I feel like it'll be before you park. It'll be better
Okay,
since
so
it's live.
all right. In that case, I should have held short there. But what I'll do is I'll park somewhere here. There's a delta there. Why is this thing behaving like there's a delta connection? I'm just gonna ask it to stop right about here. Gonna put on the parking brakes. Let's go outside and take a look at our landing replay before we go any further. That approach was very wobbly, as we saw. There's speed brakes on one side. What the hell? That is weird. Look at that. One side of our speed brakes are not working. Well, maybe that's what the warnings were about. Let's find out. Okay. Let's take a look at our landing replay, shall we, guys? So, right here. Should take a look at our landing replay.
That's also probably why you were pushed to the left.
That is probably also why that was happening. Yeah, you're right.
They acted
are-
like ailerons.
Probably at this point, yeah. So, okay, let me stop Skydolly here. Rewind that a little bit. Press play, press pause. Okay, here we go, guys. Landing replay from this exterior view. Let's see how we did here. Let us see how we did. Okay, so obviously there was a floater and the approach was crazy. Okay, let's have a look. But in the end, we were fine. Although we came in way higher than I should have, but you know, to be expected. Wasn't expecting a perfect landing. I hope you try a flight in Nepal from Kathmandu to Lukla. Mate, funny, you're from Nepal. Oh, hello. That is nice. Welcome. I fly quite a bit in Nepal. If you check out my channel, there's quite a bit of videos on Nepal and Bhutan as well. So, you know what? You've requested from Lukla to Kathmandu or Kathmandu to Lukla. You said Kathmandu to Lukla. I'll do that for you. There we go. The actual touchdown. Oh, there was a little bit of a floater there as well. There was a little bit of a bounce there as well, but yeah, all in all, not too bad. Considering the conditions, right? Considering the weather conditions, all in all, not too bad. And we failed to stop exactly the way we wanted to. So yeah, Kathmandu to Lukla. Got you. I'll either do Lukla to Kathmandu or Kathmandu to Lukla, something of the sort. We can make that happen. Let's now go ahead and have a look at some of our views, shall we? What did you think, Benny, of that landing replay right there?
That's pretty well done. Now, what I want to see though is the other side,
Okay.
to see if the air brakes, the speed brakes actually never
Engaged.
came out.
Right. So that
Yeah.
is something interesting. We did land off to the side of the runway. I mean, considering the conditions, this is not at all. You're very welcome.
This is an
You're very
amazing
welcome.
landing.
Yeah, considering the
considering the
conditions, I
conditions.
think it's
Yeah.
okay. I wouldn't call it amazing, but I would call it okay.
I would,
All right. Okay.
because I've had worse landings in real life with like
Right.
fine conditions to land.
Right. We are way
Yeah.
off to the left of the runway here, though. So that's something. Although we finished in the center, we're way off to the left of the runway. But yeah, like you said, you know, had much worse landings in real life, so even with perfect conditions. So not too bad, but could have done better. Definitely could have done better, especially with a bit of practice. This is my first time flying the 737 since my last video on the channel, so not too bad, which was like a couple of months ago.
Which is about 2 months ago.
Yeah, so pretty much not too bad. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our interior views now, shall we? So I'm gonna pause that here. Let's take a look at our interior views here. Should we take a landing replay in this view? Nah. Let's just go in. Let's go in here to this side first. So let's rewind that all the way. We're floating over the runway at this point and then till there. Okay, we'll keep it right here and let's have a look at that. Is it frosty still in Nepal now? Nepal is pretty much always cold, isn't it? I'd love to visit Nepal. I was actually considering on visiting Nepal for an extended period of time, but I'd love to visit it. Beautiful country.
So
Anyway,
Abhishek, you're from Nepal, right? So I'm guessing you've probably flown in the ATR, and as we all know, the ATR has some very interesting touchdowns. So I just want to hear if you have, and how was your experience?
yeah. I gotta say, that touchdown was smooth as hell. That was smooth. Is it big mountains here in your country? Nepal is alright for now. Okay, that's great. That was a smooth touchdown, but mountains everywhere. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Smooth touchdown, but again, way off to the left of the center line there. That I'm not too happy about. Let's have a look at the other side. Now a landing replay. Let's see if the spoilers fail to deploy over there. They might have. So let's have a look at that. Last landing replay, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it is. If you're talking about the wind, yeah, plus 37. So it kind of makes sense here. We also, for your information, we also landed into a tailwind here today. And a serious tailwind at that, huh? We had gusts all over the place and we had a tailwind component of 20 knots. That is mad. That is crazy. So, let's see. Yep, not too bad at all, man. Not too bad at all. Plus 37, more than plus 37 degrees Celsius. You're talking about EM. Are you talking about plus degrees Celsius 37? Because that is hot, man. 37 degrees Celsius is hot. So, I mean, by Dubai standards, it's not. So, cold, I mean. Oh. Cold. 29 warm, right. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed those landing replays. Let's now go ahead and park our aircraft. If PMDG will allow us to do that, actually. Let me just fast forward our little taxi there. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's go inside here and see what state the cockpit is in after those landing replays. Look at that. Did you see that? Do you see what's happening? What is going on there? What just happened there? Did the sim rate, is the sim rate? Oh, the sim rate. Sorry, yeah. The landing replay also activated the sim rate. My bad. Disable that right there. Let's go ahead and park our aircraft if we can. So we gotta throttle up to get moving here. And yeah, as expected, it's a bit stuck. So we gotta unstick this thing. It's getting hot by day. Getting hot day by day, right? Okay, so let me try and there. Disengage once again. Let's see if I... This is one of the problems I have with the PMDG 737 after landing. It is very difficult to get it moving again. You get the point?
I believe it's not just the 737, it's all PMDG aircraft. Even the 777 had the same issue in the last to last flight.
Yeah, I think so. The problem is that let's try that again. Let's try that again, and then let's try that. Will that solve the problem? No.
Yeah, you're moving, I think.
I'm moving?
No, my bad. That was just an illusion.
Okay, I think, okay, the only way to break this is now to go full throttle. So we go full throttle there. Is that gonna break it? Good lord, it's literally refusing. It's not moving at all. So this happens with PMDG. No, with the 737, with the 777, it's not really an issue. But it is with this. Now, let me go to our ground maintenance. See that? That is one of the issues why this happens. So I'm just going to cool the brakes. That should get rid of the problem for us. Whenever we do landing replay on PMDG aircraft, the brakes heat up, so that is another thing. We also replace the
moving
brakes.
though, just very, very slowly.
Yeah, it's because of the brakes. It's because of the freaking brakes. I'm also going to replace it. There we go. See, the second you replace the tires, we're moving again. There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Brilliant. Let's now find ourselves into a parking if I can even find my way in this thing. And as you can probably tell, we are currently...
You might want to check nav map.
Yeah, I'm checking little nav map to have a clue of where to park into. I don't know where Delta really parks, but yeah, let's take a right turn here. Abhishek, what has been he saying? Always cold in the mountains, good season for mountaineering. Ah, yes. Okay, so let's continue here. Let's turn off some of our lights that are unnecessary at this point. Strobe lights can come to steady. And everything else is pretty much on at this point. We can turn on our APU. Let's go ahead and do that. Perfect. We can put our flaps up. Flaps up yet? Come on, mate. Put the flaps up, just like that. Flaps are up, auto brakes are off, everything is looking good. All of this can keep quiet for now. Brilliant. Let's take a look at what our passenger is seeing as we taxi out. Look at that view when you taxi, man. Imagine landing into your home base after a flight like this, going home, cuddling into bed, and getting a cup of hot chocolate. Sounds delicious.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Sounds delicious right there. Okay, here we go. We are moving, ladies and gentlemen. At least we're moving quite easily here. Let's now go find ourselves in a nice little parking. We can't see a damn thing, can we? No, we can't. And that speed brake is bugged. Something wrong with that speed brake right there, I'm telling you. it's gone El Frizzo on us. Look at it. Yeah, something is wrong with it. We're not gonna bother. We already made the flight. We know that lots of issues happen during replay and all that crap. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Engines are still running here. We could have turned off our engines, but could do a single engine taxi. Could do a single engine taxi, but we're looking good. Even hard time for nation looks like past. I mean, people like me is a hard worker, alright? Right, you're talking about the cold, I think. Talking about the cold there. Okay, we're taxiing along quite gently here. Look at the visibility on here. Next to nothing. Next to nothing. Alright, Anis has dropped some emojis here, if I'm not wrong, on Twitch there. Thank you for that. I hope I go through immigration after the flight. Oh yes, you better go through immigration after flight. Okay, let us, you know what, let's make a turn here. Eek. This thing is interestingly modeled here. It's not even turning. Like, I believe the ground is too slick. Come on, move. Yep, it's moving now. The ground is very slick here. So we're gonna have a bit of an issue here taxiing in, but minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 visibility, that's right. Oh look, there's another Delta 737. What appears to be an 800 variant, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's an 800, I believe. Okay, let's find ourselves into... Oh my goodness, this is rough. The gate I'm trying to go to is... There's no turn radius available whatsoever. Goodness me, that is rough. We've got a taxi like a snail here. And we've still got one more right turn. So, Mr. Benny, thoughts, comments on that flight right there?
It was really interesting. But right now I'm too dead to comment anything.
It's been a long stream.
Yeah, it's been a long night.
Abhishek says, I hope you reach many heights with your channel, brother. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Your well wishes. Thank you very much for those kind words there. It was a blast
thank you for
this flight.
subscribing as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a blast this flight, and gotta go. See you soon. See ya, mate. See you. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out here with us. Appreciate your viewership once again. See you soon, mate. See you soon. Glad you enjoyed the flight. Let's go in and park now, and we shall shut down our aircraft if we can even get this thing to taxi out properly, because it is misbehaving like all hell, and we are crawling along. Because if I go any faster, I can't even turn the aircraft. So there we go. Let's find ourselves a gate. Now there comes the next challenge. How do we find ourselves a gate here? Gotta find ourselves a gate in this weather. I don't see anything right now. Okay, and then we shall...
You might want to check the external view.
The external view is right here. I think there's a gate
Still
available
can't find a
right
gate.
here, right?
Yeah.
No, there
Yeah.
isn't. There isn't. That's not a gate. Oh my goodness. Oh, there's a gate there. So we'll take that. Well, there's a gate here too. We can take this too, but I'll prefer this one. So let's head back in here. Let's take this gate. This is making me feel all cozy. Have a great time, day or night, wherever you are. EM is saying waving goodbye there to our viewer. That was a great stream actually. I enjoyed that very, very much. As long as it was very entertaining. 2 hours and 45 minutes of streaming here. That was a long route though, so I'm not complaining. Let's go ahead and turn in, shall we? Okay. Let's go ahead and turn our aircraft in here. Just like that. I like the sounds of the wipers. Very nice. Okay. Cut the throttle pretty much. Okay, and let's put on our parking brake if it will allow us to. Parking brakes are on. Let's see how we park there. Not too bad, not too great, but you know, I'll leave it there, not a problem. Yeah, I'll leave it there, not an issue at all. Okay, so we got APU running, so we can switch our power down here to APU. The hell is this about? Yeah, we know the autopilot is not connected, don't worry about that crap. Okay, turning off our engines, we'll enjoy the sounds in a second. There we go. Oops, we dipped underground there. Okay, engines have switched off, ladies and gentlemen. Head back in here. Let's go towards GSX. Let's request a deboarding here. So let's do that. Request deboarding. Thank you. That has moved that. Excellent. Let's go to ground operations. Let us look at setting the chocks here. Let's request our ground power here. And once ground power is available, we can just turn off our APU as well here. We can turn on APU bleed for the time being if we wanted to. Let's just turn it off. Ground power available, Benny, if you're still with us.
Yep, I'm right here.
We're turning off autopilot there, and let's turn off yaw damper. Let's make sure that the aircraft is cleaned up, isn't it? It is cleaned up pretty much. Apart from that malfunctioning speed brake, everything is cleaned up, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Once we're waiting for the deboarding process, we can go around and check out the handcrafted airport, which is also the busiest airport in the world.
Definitely, mate. That is a good idea. Let's go ahead, put this down to whatever it's supposed to be at, 0. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. Going to keep the packs off here, that on automatic, bleeds can remain the way it is. That's great. What else? Anti-collision lights off here, these lights off here, logo lights off here, taxi lights off here. Steady on that. Then yaw damper off. ADIRS systems off there. There we go. What else do we need to do here? This one can be on. We'll leave it there. All this is off. That is off. Is there anything else? Oh yes, this right here. That's also done. Is there anything else that we're missing here? No. I don't think so, mate. I don't think we're... Oh, yeah. Let's turn off the wipers here. We don't need that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have pretty much put our aircraft back in the state that we want it to be in. Cold and dark GPU, right?
Yep.
So that was pretty fun. That was pretty fun indeed. Here is the deboarding process going on, and look at that. There's a freaking thing here. Anyway, a little glitch there. Is Miami far from Atlanta? Can you go to Miami now? I mean, if you planned another flight. EM, actually, I'm actually calling it a day here for today's stream. Today's stream, I only have this one flight planned. Is Miami far from Atlanta? It is not far from Atlanta, if I'm being honest. It is kind of far, but not really. It's not that long way away from Atlanta.
I believe it's further from this flight.
No,
This
it
flight
isn't.
is shorter than.
No,
It
it isn't. No, it isn't. It's shorter
Oh.
to Miami than New York, but still a long flight. I don't have another
Yeah.
flight planned here for today's stream. I'm calling it a day for this stream. So unfortunately, I won't be able to perform another flight. I gotta bounce right after this. I have some stuff that I need to take care of. But yeah, one of these days I will plan a longer live stream so that we can perform multiple legs and you can have a blast. But probably another time, not at this time. Anyway, so Benny, we were supposed to check out. What on earth is this? Oh, look at that. That is. Oh my god. My bad. I made a bit of. I don't know what happened there. I switched to the drone camera and it said overstressed your aircraft. I don't know why it did that. Doesn't make any sense. But anyway, we're pretty much done. We'll take a look at Atlanta Airport in the next live stream. Perhaps we'll fly a route similar to what EM suggested. But for today, we're pretty much done. And there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed today's little live stream there. Hope you guys had fun. If you did, please leave a like. Consider subscribing to the channel. And there's a lot more coming up. There's a lot of videos, shorts, lives, the whole stuff. Anyway, I shall see you soon. EM, Anas, Abhishek, Liam, and whoever else tuned in today. Benny, thank you so much once again for being a part of this live stream and keeping it lively.
It was a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me.
Sure. And we're coming up on 3 hours here on the live stream, and that's where we'll leave it for the day. Okay, so cheers, and I shall see you in the next one. Keep flying indeed, EM. Cheers, mate. See ya.
Good night, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.